thinking, and players, we think the same. Okay, what could I have done on this play? Yes, I caught a pass on this play, but what more? Should I have done this or should I have done that? Did I read the defense right? So you're always critiquing yourself after a win or a loss. But I think every team in team sports, first game of the season, you always want to start off with the victory. But it's a long season, and just because you lose the first game doesn't mean that's the end of your season. You hope to just come out of the first game, if it's not a win, that everyone's healthy and you can go back, watch the film, correct the things that need to be corrected, and then you move on. So that's the way, I've looked at it as a former player, and I'm pretty sure that's the way a lot of other guys looked at it, in regards to, okay, we won, but what is it? You feel good about yourself. We have a 24-hour rule. Celebrate it for 24 hours, but also go back, watch the film, see the things that you need to improve on. Even with the win or loss, there's always something that you can improve on as a ball team. Sometimes in losses, there are more things you have to improve on, but even in wins, there's always nothing is perfect. Even in a win, I don't care if you blow a team out, nothing is ever perfect.
No doubt about that. And Mike Vrabel was actually asked yesterday about being able to bounce back from last year's Week 1 loss to Arizona.
I don't think anybody was happy with the performance in Week 1 last year. Do you take anything from that experience in terms of how you've handled the last couple weeks or this week to try and make it different?
Just hope that we can play and coach better. I mean, we turned the ball over, didn't do a very good job taking care of the football. Couldn't really, stop them much, and it just, we got beat.
He gave more of an answer than I expected him to give for that, because usually he's like, last year is last year, and you can't really, take anything away from that. And, in a sense, that's correct that you can't. But the fact that he even touched that question tells me that it's on his mind. He's 2-2 as a head coach in Week 1, that he knows that Week 1 can be a tone setter for a season, and this is a team that they're supposed to be better than. I mean, they are, in their minds, they got a better quarterback, they got a better running back, even though Saquon Barkley is obviously very talented. He's been hurt. They have a better receiver core. I mean, they have a better defense. You're going up against a rookie head coach who I think can be a good head coach. But in every sense of the word, Willie, using your favorite word, the Titans should win this game, but they have to go out there and they actually have to play like they should win this game. And I think that is on the mind of Mike Vrabel.
I think Mike Vrabel does not coach any differently in Week 1 as opposed to Week 7, 9, 11, 17. I think that's one of the things that makes him a good coach. I think one of the most overrated things going in an NFL season is how you do in the first game. I think we're so starved to have a game that counts. We're going to freak out one way or the other depending on what happens in this game. And I can remember the freakouts from the past. But to me, whether you win the game or not is, it's just the same as Week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think what puts maybe a little bit more pressure on this game is you got so many guys, especially on offense, that haven't played in the role that they're going to play on Sunday. And everybody's curious, how quick can it come together? I think that's the biggest challenge. And it may not, but I'm not going to panic if they don't look good in Week 1. I don't think it's a season killer by any stretch, especially with the extra game now. You got time to dig out of a hole. There's 17 games. You don't have to go 17-0 if you mess up a game. That's what's maybe different than it is in college, where if you're trying to win a championship, if you slip up one time, that could be it. You could ruin your season. And that's what we love about college football, which will change a little bit with the expanded playoffs. And then, of course, you go to Buffalo next Monday. You don't want to go in there 0-1. That would be tough. But all that to say, we're going to overreact no matter what happens, but this is my yearly speech. Just remember what happens after Week 1. Everybody freaks out one way or the other. and it's just one game. It's a long season.
Sure, but I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, it's, how many times has a team? I mean, I can remember back. You guys started 0-1. Didn't in 2000? Didn't you start 0-1?
You guys in 2002 went 1-4.
Yeah, we went 1-4, and then we went on a streak of winning.
All
11
but one
games.
Yeah, only lost one
10,
after
11
that.
games. Yeah. So it's not necessarily. I don't want to say it's not how you start because, I mean, how you start to some folks mean the first game, but how you start, in the NFL is you break it down in halves. 4 games first quarter. Well, you break it down in quarters. 4 games first quarter, 4 games second quarter, 4 games third quarter, and then the last quarter you got. Instead of 4, you got 5 because of the last game. But you want to start off fast because you want to finish that first quarter, either 4-0, 3-1, 2-2. You don't want to finish, 1-3, 0-4. You don't want to finish that way because to me that you've dug yourself a hole. So teams. You want to get off on a fast start, and then you want to just constantly build throughout the season because come week 9 or game 9, that's when you start to see the separation in teams. We're talking late November, mid-December. You start to see the teams that are going to win the division, teams that are going to make the playoffs, from the teams that are not going to make the playoffs. So you start to see that distinct difference or that separation. So to me, it is all about how you start and about how you finish in this league because you can't afford to start, especially now, looking at the Titans division. You got Indianapolis that they play 3 out of the first 7 games, something like that, are division games. Or the Titans, one of the two, they have a lot of division games their first half of their season. So if you have a lot of division games, the first half of your season, you can't afford to start off slow. If you're playing, if you're the Indianapolis coach and you got Jacksonville twice, you got the Titans, and you have who else is in that division? I always forget the third team. Jacksonville, the Titans, Houston. So you have Houston once. You can't afford to start off slow because those are pivotal games. And then you got to play them in the back end. So, especially when you're playing division games early, you got to start off fast and finish fast.
Well, I can't believe I'm with you. I'm surprised he answered the question about last year in the opener. So we'll see. I mean, every game is big. You play 17, and it's a tough schedule. This is one of the easier games on paper on the schedule, so you feel like you got to have it. I get it. But just remember, there's always an overreaction after the first game, one way or the other. So if they win 30-0, it doesn't mean everything. If they lose, it doesn't mean the season's shot.
Coming up next, we'll take your call, 615-737-1025. But there was an interesting thing on the unofficial depth chart that I saw yesterday. We'll discuss that, and it's about a position group that Derek's been concerned about. That's all coming up here on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A new fair is hatching in Nashville. Come on out and experience 10 days of dinner shows, barnyard animals, culture arts, sporting events, and 4 nights of Nashfest with themed music. We have something for everyone at the Fairgrounds Nashville from September 9th through the 18th. Buy tickets early online and save at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair. The Nashville Fair. It's a hatchin' good time.
If you missed the latest from Robbie and Rex Road.
I mean, the fact that you even felt like you had to say that out loud, is sad. But hey, unfortunately, there are actually people who apparently in the fan base who think otherwise, or certainly national media.
But my main point is you feel like you have a team to win right now, and I understand you don't believe in your quarterback. So what do you do about that if you're a Titans fan that's out? Because, I mean, I still think there's a chance he could play well this year, get you to the playoffs, and you're back in the playoffs with a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. No matter what he does in the regular season, the question is going to be, if they get to the playoffs, all right, well, what now? What do you do in this playoff game? But there are some that don't even want to entertain Ryan Tannehill being the quarterback this year, much less next year.
Yeah, I mean,
possibility.
Yeah, and to them, I just say, man, it could be worse. Look, there's a best case scenario here.
Tune in Robbie and Rex with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You can weigh in on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace here with you. Let's go to the phones. Billy has a question for Derek Mason. Ask D-Mace on Fridays at 12:30, but you can always chime in. Billy, welcome in.
Thanks, guys, for taking the show. D-Mace, what an honor to be able to talk with you. I remember when you were a rookie and I was within 5 feet of you and watch you blister down the field, make a cut, and leave a D-back just in the dust. Oh, and you caught the ball every time. Well, at least 99.9% of the time.
No, he never dropped a pass.
Never.
Just ask him.
You sure didn't drop that one when you were on the Ravens and you got us in that playoff game with a blown-up shoulder. I remember that explicitly. Great job. Hey, Mace, you know, the team, the Titans blew up Fitzpatrick as this great receiver that, you know, was on practice and developed and did so wonderful in the off season. And then, you know, during the preseason, he drops one in the end zone. What is it that they don't see? I mean, from the perspective of a receiver, was he actually an authentic receiver that could have made it, or what is that? I'll get off. And by the way, D-Mace, I got to get your autograph for a jersey. Love you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
$20, Billy.
And the honor is all mine. Thank you, Billy, for calling.
I'm your business manager now.
Hey, everybody, if you want something, go through Chase and you get in contact with me.
That reminds me, somebody wants to interview you. Ask me about that off the
air. NIL deal for D-Mace.
Absolutely. You know, when Des Fitzpatrick, you know, all the noise was coming out, and it was good out of OTAs and off-season workouts. He was, he had the Vrabel Award, and he was doing so well. And that's That's encouraging to see from a young player. But then he gets in practice, and for whatever reason, as the practices started to go, that's why when I look at, 2-a-day practice or whatever they call it now, just a fall practice, fall camp, let's just call it that. I don't necessarily look at the first couple of days or the first week. Everybody getting this uproar about the first week and how great guys are doing and this and that. And I just sit back and watch and listen. I don't start paying attention until week 2, 3, and 4. Well, week 2 and 3. By 4, it is what it is. Because typically, I want to see a guy how he does when his body starts to get tired, when those days start to get long, when he starts to get frustrated and irritated. I want to see how does he react then. I don't care how he reacts at the beginning when everybody's fresh, everybody's ready to go, the excitement is there. A lot of guys do well then, but who's going to do well when the stuff starts hitting the fan and you're hot and you're irritated and you're hurt and you're, just dealing with mental things, the mental things of practice. Those guys, I want to see if guys typically step up then. And for some reason, Des Fitzpatrick didn't. He had a case of the dropsies. And it's kind of spilled over into the game. I think that last game hurt him. He had an opportunity to make 2 plays in that game toward the end of the game. And that's what coaches want to see. When things start to get a little thick, can you come up and make a play? He had an opportunity to make a play on the end route. What happened? He drops the ball, goes right through his hand. Then he runs a really good route. Woodside puts it on him, and he drops it. Coaches can't trust you after that. Quarterbacks can't trust you after that. So sometimes the last impression is the impression that coaches go with. And this last impression wasn't good. Now, can the kid get better? I think he can. This could be a learning lesson for him. I know he don't want to stay on practice squad forever. So this can be a learning lesson for him. But, he just has to be consistent. And I don't think the coaches saw the consistency there with a group that, for the most part, showed consistency. The top 4 or 5 guys showed consistency. And he didn't. And it's not like the Titans were going to keep 6 or 7 receivers. You see how many they're keeping. They're keeping 5 as of now. And he wasn't a part of that 5. But luckily, he got an opportunity to be on the practice squad again, to hone in on his skills. So we'll see what happens from here.
Yes, we will, indeed. All right, yesterday the unofficial depth chart came out. And, look, it's unofficial for a reason. But something that kind of I noticed, and Gentry Estes from the Tennessean was on Robbie and Rexford this morning, he noticed it too. Roger McCreary is listed as a starter ahead of Caleb Farley. Here was Gentry Estes earlier this morning.
Probably more confident. To me, the fact that McCreary is ahead of Farley is a good sign because I don't think Farley had a terrible camp. I think he was inconsistent at times and a little up and down, but that move in the depth chart is not a result of Farley failing to meet standards or being injured or unavailable or whatever. That's a result of McCreary being good enough to do that. And I think I would separate that from some other, maybe right tackle, some other areas of the depth chart where I don't necessarily think that was the case.
You agree with that, Derek?
I disagree. It does show that, Caleb Farley wasn't ready. Again, as I talked about with Des Fitzpatrick, his inconsistencies showed up at the wrong time. Well, Caleb Farley, inconsistencies showed up at the wrong time. And this is what people don't understand. When coaches are watching film, because there were a couple of plays in the preseason that the refs just didn't call. They're watching those practice films or they're watching those game films the next day, and they're thinking in their mind, he can't do this. He continues to do this. He continues to grab and hold. And it's during the season. I said this, I think, last week. They're not going to allow him to get away with that during the season. They're just not. he has to find a way to play with his feet instead of playing and grabbing, 10, 12 yards down the field. Because you do that against these top-notch receivers, they're going to call it every time, and he's going to put his team in a bad position. McQuarrie doesn't play like that. McQuarrie plays with his feet. He plays with his eyes. He trusts what he can do. I don't think Caleb Farley trusts himself yet, and I'm sure a lot of it does have to do with the injury, and he hadn't played a lot.
I'm really curious to see how much they try to work Farley in there somewhere. Like, what's his role? If he is not a slot guy, because that's what we hear about McQuarrie, is he can play slot or play outside. So what's the rotation? We know Christian Fulton is going to be an anchor on one side. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that's going to move with the receiver. Probably not, right? He's probably played the one side. And then how do they rotate? Because I think Farley needs to play. Like, I think he's a talent. He may not be ready to start. I agree with everything you said. He's not quite ready. He hasn't played enough. I feel like he could be exploited. But I think they got to get him in there some. So that's a balancing act because, hey, McQuarrie is a rookie. Like, it took Elijah Molden a while. He had some rough days early in the season, and then he started to hold his mud and became, I think, a pretty reliable guy by the end of the year. So all of this stuff, I think going back to the importance of the first game, there's got to be a little trial and error as you work out roles for different people when you start. Another thing on the depth chart, Chase, that I thought was noteworthy besides the one you just pointed out, I thought that was the one. And then the other one was Danico Autry listed as the starter at outside linebacker. Yeah. And we brought this up last week, the day after the Landry injury, is take a look at Autry, the versatility that he has. He does play out there. He doesn't have to play at defensive end. He can move out to outside linebacker, and they've got him down on the depth chart as the starting outside linebacker.
And DeMarcus Walker at defensive end.
Yes.
Which Walker had a really good camp. He's been around a while, not with this team, but somebody they brought in to compete, and he ends up making the roster, as does Deshaun Hand. So, look, I think all of those guys are going to play a role.
Yeah, and we had noted that when you watch the preseason games, not only did you like Weaver, and I think we still will see plenty of Weaver because I think they can move Autry in. It's kind of – and Autry is dealing with what? Something with his hand or wrist or something like that.
Yeah. He's been practicing.
Maybe it's a little easier for him to play on the outside. I don't know. But his versatility is important. Remember the chemistry he started to build with Simmons, with Dupree, with Landry, with the stunts and things like that, where they started to really get some great things going as the season went along. I wonder how that's effective or how that's affected with him having to play out there. But I do think it's an area where, hey, we're trying to replace a really good player. Weaver looks pretty good. Can he handle all the snaps? No, so let's move Autry out there. We've got good depth on the interior. But that's another thing to look for, is where is Autry lining up during the course of the game? And how much do we see Weaver?
I think you're going to see some versatility from Danico Autry for sure. A couple other quick things. The starting receivers, Robert Woods, Westbrook-Akine, no surprise there that Burks is not listed as a starter. Kyle Phillips is probably your slot guy, so you'll use him. And then Austin Hooper is the starting tight end, as is Jeff Swain. So if they go too tight set, you're probably going to see Hooper and Swain. Again, no surprise there, but I think that will change, and we'll as the year goes on, because your hope is Chigakonkwo can jump in there too. But Nicholas Petit-Frere is the starting right tackle. Dennis Daly his backup. So we'll see. Dylan Radent's listed as a guard behind Nate Davis. So we'll see how that goes.
His days at tackle are over.
Hopefully he never has to play.
Yes. And I will reveal this right now. There is not a question about Dylan Radens in my 10 Titans questions. We're taking a break. We're taking a break.
Appreciate. Well, we are. That's true. Coming up next, does Derek believe that Josh Gordon could be a factor this weekend for the Titans? We'll discuss that. Coming up next, Chase, William, D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Tools of the Game brought to you by the Fall Power Sale. This week at Northern Tool and Equipment. Save on pressure washers, generators, log splitters, trailers, wagons, tarps, and more. Northern Tool and Equipment is where you'll find hundreds of deals. In store or online at northerntool.com.
Labor Day is here, and that means huge savings in every department at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Save big on laptops, speakers and headphones, smart home, and more. Up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing. The Labor Day sales event is going on now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Jewelry business, it's in my blood. I've been doing it all my life, and it's my passion.
Meet Daniel Sabalas, a third-generation jeweler at Genesis Diamonds.
This line of work, it's all about honesty and trust. It's about building relationships.
And that's what drew Daniel to Genesis, where it's all about education, transparency, and respect for each customer.
It's based on a family business mentality, and that's how we are. We're here to educate, to guide you, and we make it very easy. So we really go out of our way to educate customers in the right way. There's no stress level, there's no tension. The customer can feel that.
All this while providing the guaranteed best value price.
I've never seen a company that has the best price like this that I've seen anywhere. We are a powerhouse of diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds. No commission salespeople, no pricing games, no risk, no pressure, no cutting corners.
Genesis Diamonds is going to give you the best price, best quality, guaranteed, no matter what.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
At Cromwell Media, we take great pride in the tenure of our team. This month, big shout-outs go to 2 members of our sales team, Jeff Kolb for 11 years and Matt Saggio for 6 years. Thanks, guys. Jared Cassidy, a part-time producer for 102.5, 106.3 The Game, has been a teammate for 3 years. Finally, audio engineer Ladarius Robinson and Tina Jackson in our corporate office are celebrating their first anniversaries. Want to be part of our success? Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com and tell us about yourself. We could be celebrating you next year.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Robbie and Rex Road. Paul Kaharski from paulkaharski.com drops by. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans as they take on the Giants this week. Get you caught up on the latest in college football as well. That's Robbie and Rex Road, 6 a.m. on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Availability being as big a quality as it is, how much do you guys factor in Gordon's lack of availability over the course of his career?
Well, those are things that, really are out of our control. I mean, I think we'll look at how he handles, each day. And if he is, maybe we would anticipate him being available to us. But I wouldn't look at anything in the past. And we're excited to work with him and see how he develops within our offense.
Back here, Chase Willie and D-Base. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I never know what Nick's going to play.
Apparently the Titans have signed Indiana Jones, and he's going to be perhaps competing with the wide receivers for playing time.
Dr. Jones. Yeah, there
Jones!
you go. Jones! Chase Willie and D-Mace. Can Josh Gordon help the Tennessee Titans, and could it be as early as this week? Now, Derek, we just showed you some video during the break that Teron Davenport shot yesterday at practice. It was cone drills, a couple of different drills that Josh Gordon was running. I was impressed by the speed and the explosiveness that he still has. But through your receiver eyes, do you think that at 31, 32 years old, he's got enough that he could actually help this team?
I think he can. It just depends on what is his defined role. Because he can help the team in several different ways. But what is going to be his predominant role on this team moving forward? Do they want him to be the third wide receiver? Do they want him to be the fourth wide receiver? Are they setting up just specific packages for him? Is he a guy that they're looking to, be in a lot of the run sets, to be a blocker? Are they looking for him to, stretch the field? So his role will be defined, if it hadn't already been defined. But I think he helps define that role with his play, how he practices, and then how he goes out and performs in a game. So his role can change from week to week depending on how quickly he picks up the offense, because the kid's a talent. We all know that, but it's just getting him acclimated to what they're doing from an offensive standpoint. And if he can pick that up pretty quickly, then, like I said, his role can change from week to week. And the longer he's here, the better it is for him.
This goes back to my theme of this first hour: is how willing are you as the Titans to let it play out a little bit for the first? Let's just give it a month, right? Even if he's not ready on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Does he show you enough behind the scenes to say, he's in good shape and he might be able to help us over the course of the year? Let's not rush it here. But it's funny you brought up that video, Chase, because I saw the same thing. I noticed that yesterday too. It's like I had my son ask me yesterday, isn't he really old? I was like, well, he's only 31. So, and there's not a lot of mileage in terms of getting beat up over the course of seasons, because he's had 14 passes thrown to him in the last 2 years. None in 2020. Did not play at all. 2021, he was there for 12 games. It says in Pro Football Reference that he started 7, but he only had 14 passes thrown to him all season for the Chiefs. So there's not a lot of wear and tear. But you see the length, right? When you see him do those drills, and Derek, his feet look really light to me. He looks like he's fresh. He's in good shape. And you see that 6'3" frame, and it's tantalizing, right? It kind of has you saying, well, I can see why people just keep giving this guy chances, because he's got tools that you just can't teach.
Well, and I thought it was interesting, couple things. Derek, what you just said is how quickly can he pick things up. Mm-hmm. He mentioned yesterday that the Chiefs wanted to sign him back to the practice squad, but he thought this was going to be a better opportunity for him to actually get on the field. He did catch up with the media, including Teron Davenport. TD posted this video, and he discussed being behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, no, I think it's just tough to come into a new team like I did before from Seattle, a different place, and transition week 6, to try to instill that trust. Sometimes it takes years. Guys been together for a decade, sometimes 5-6 years. So I'm trying to, put myself in a position. I think, I know I'm coming in behind the 8 ball. So, I got to make up for lost time, and that's just one thing I got to do. That's been an obstacle of mine, and that's just my issue. I don't think it's anything I can't overcome. It's more of a challenge I'm looking forward to.
I would imagine the last couple of days been kind of like a speed dating kind of thing for you. How has Rob Moore helped you? He spent a lot of time with you, trying to get you up to speed.
Coach Moore's been great. We've been meeting every day so far. We'll probably continue to do so to help him bring me up to speed. And he's got a great knowledge of the game. He's an ex-player himself, so we've got a great perspective here of learning the game and just how they run routes and nuance of it. And so I'm leaning on him heavy, and I know I can count on him.
There you go, Josh Gordon talking about being
we had
behind
a ruckus in the locker room right
little
there
ruckus,
at the end of the question.
Little ruckus, but he brought up Rob Moore, or TD brought up Rob Moore. And, Derek, Rob Moore, and he played, and obviously I think he's done a fantastic job as the wide receivers coach for this team. To me, that's an advantage for Josh Gordon to, talk to a coach that speaks the language, played the game, knows how all that works, and that's going to, in turn, I think, help him learn things quicker.
Yeah, I think so. It's all about comfortability with an individual. If you feel comfortable with this person, then you tend to, open up a little bit, relax, and allow things to happen. And you trust what the person is saying, and that they're putting you in the right position to succeed. This kid, he's had all the talent in the world. And I do understand when he says, listen, when you go into an organization or a team in the middle of the season, that's the worst thing. I don't care what anybody says. Because the guys that are ahead of you, they've been there basically all year, training camp and everything else. And you're stepping into a situation and you're trying to learn on the fly. And he's right. He's behind the 8-ball. But he doesn't have to stay behind the 8-ball. He can find a way to get around it and become the 8-ball himself. So it's good. It's bad that he's coming so late, but it's good that the season hasn't started yet. So he had, he had the beginning of the week. He's going to have all week to kind of immerse himself into the playbook. And the good thing about this is that he doesn't have to learn the whole playbook because, in training camp, mini camps, you get, possibly, 400 to 500 pass plays. Now, they can vary in personnel and all the other stuff, but 400 to 500 pass plays. We learn all of those plays, but then once we get in the season, there's about only 200, 250 maybe that we use throughout the season. So it's good for him that he doesn't have to learn that whole thing. He's only learning what they're game planning with and who they game planning for. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to they don't want him to learn the whole thing. They just need for him to learn what the plays are going to be for this week and moving forward. So that's good for him. And then they probably got a specific package for him. Like, listen, you're the Z. You learn this. Don't worry about the X. Don't worry about the Y. Just learn this, know this, and be ready, and we will quiz you. I guarantee you he's going to have a test with Rob Moore come Saturday morning to make sure, or Friday after practice when everybody else leaves, Josh Gordon will be in the office with Rob Moore going over those plays again.
That's really interesting. I think that's an art form probably from a coaching staff is how do I get a guy up to speed as fast as possible so he can help us in a specific role. The Titans have a good track record with this. Maybe not with veterans like Josh Gordon. I would hope it would help Josh Gordon to be a veteran and have been in a lot of different places and learned a lot of different playbooks. But this is another thing that struck me about this whole Josh Gordon thing. It's a flyer no matter what happens. But when you take a Josh Gordon, a veteran like that, you're not thinking we're putting this guy on a practice squad and just stashing him. Like you got to feel like when the tryout happened, there's a chance we could use this guy and use him fairly quick. I'm not saying it's got to be on Sunday, but in a fairly short period of time. If he's not in there and contributing, you're probably just better off, with somebody else that you're just trying to develop. Go back to a Racy McMath or somebody like that when he gets healthy. But they must have seen enough from him to say, you know what, I can see this guy in our lineup. We could use a veteran, and we can see this guy helping us.
This is what they're thinking. The talent is better than anything they've had over the last 5 years at that position. I'm just saying, the talent.
I don't disagree with that. Him at his best.
Better than anything they've had over the last 5 years. And I'm not talking about production. Even his one season was better than anything they've had over 5 years. Hell, the one season was better than anything they've had as a Tennessee Titan. His numbers were better than mine that one season.
That was an incredible season. Now, that was a long time ago, but that was an incredible season.
But what I'm saying is they're looking at it as if we can hit on this, it's better than anything we've had over the last 5 seasons. The talent is better than any player they've had over the last 5 seasons, and I'll put that on anything.
Okay, I have one concern that I'm going to ask you about coming up next. It's And I want you to tell me if it's a big concern, small concern, or no concern at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that coming up next. But first, you're going to tell us about BetUS.
Yes. As soon as I was talking about.
I mean, you were rolling there.
Yeah, I was rolling there. But let me get back to
tell the bettors.
BetUS. I'm going to tell you. Attention, sports fans, all of you out there, men, women, maybe even some kids out there that bet within the household. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including MLB, which I know Willie and Chase loves, NBA, which I love, NFL, which we all love, and more. So there's something for everybody. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sport book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you will get paid. Everybody needs to get paid. You need a sport book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, all kinds of crazy bets. I mean, esports, that's the video games, right? Goodness gracious, they got everything. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up a new account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you will get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
On Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus forecast for today, very comfortable, very similar to your Wednesday. High temperatures upper 80s to right near 90 degrees, low humidity, and no rain chances for today. A few showers and storms late in the day for your Friday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Got chronic joint pain but want to avoid steroids and surgery? Take some advice from pro football legend Emmitt Smith. Call QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life with biologic therapies that get your body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
These exciting new regenerative treatments from local medical professionals can help your body heal itself with lasting pain relief.
Trust me, you want to avoid surgery if you can. Check out these biologic treatments to see what your options are.
QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime, no surgery, no drugs.
I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again.
Get relief now.
What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. Get a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, simple deck height adjustments, and a quality cut. When you need comfort and performance, then you need the professional-grade Kubota Z400. Right now, get the Kubota Z400 mower for 0 down, 0% APR for 24 months or save $300. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer. 3 locations to serve you: Columbia Kubota, Franklin Kubota, and Krebs Kubota. ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com or KrebsKubota.com.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
We're broadcasting live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. We will review our 10 questions from last year for the Titans coming up in just a few minutes. And then at 11, we will ask the questions for this year. We will want your participation on those as well. Here's my one concern about Josh Gordon. And it has nothing to do with him necessarily. None of the off-the-field stuff. Vrabel didn't really seem all that concerned about that stuff in his past. It has to do, and I don't necessarily mean this as a knock towards Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill is a big chemistry guy.
Yes.
And you saw it last year in the opener that with a lot of guys that missed training camp and he just didn't get a lot of time with Julio Jones, the chemistry wasn't there. And when he first took over as the quarterback, the guy he threw to the most was Jonnu Smith because Jonnu Smith at that time was still second team, and so he got a lot of reps with Ryan Tannehill. The chemistry was there. So I worry about you're trying to bring a guy up to speed and make sure he's good to go just for 1 week, but what is the chemistry like between him and Ryan Tannehill? Is that a concern to you at all?
Yes, it is. In order for a passing game to work, you have to have that. In order for a passing game to be efficient and work the way it's supposed to and consistent, you got to have that chemistry with your pass catchers. Teams that struggle, typically, you're adding new pieces to a puzzle, and you're trying to get used to those new pieces. Teams that if they have a good quarterback or an elite quarterback, and they've been with their pass catchers for a year or two, you're going to see the passing game go a little bit more seamlessly. It runs a little bit more seamless. So I am a little concerned about, Gordon being on the same page with Ryan Tannehill. We will see. I'm sure they will get a lot of reps together, whether it be, 7-on-7 team or just them two on the side while the defense is going over their plays and scout team offense is out there. So they're going to make it their priority to make sure that Gordon and Ryan Tannehill are on the same page, especially if they see that Gordon's picking up the playbook and he's right on pace to where they want him to be. Then they're going to make sure, or they're going to try to make sure, that chemistry between Gordon and Tannehill is there enough that they can have some success in the first game. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm a little worried, but I'm sure they'll pick it up. I'm sure that you may see a mistake here or there, but I don't think you'll see just a complete debacle between those two.
All right, so our 10 questions from last year. We'll get to the ones from this year coming up at 11. And, again, we'll want your participation on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. But, Willie, you have our questions from last year that we did here on the show. And these were entertaining. So please review.
And what we did is last year we asked these questions at the beginning of the season, and then we revisited every quarter of the season to see how crazy the questions sounded and, of course, how they played out. So I tried to take the 10 areas that we discussed the most during the training camp. I mean, the anticipation for a football season in this area of the country is really amazing, especially when we talk about just the popularity of the NFL in general and now where the team is. I mean, there is an anticipation for a season. So we talk so much about certain things before they ever play a game. We talk for 6 weeks before they ever play a game. And it's amazing how a season can turn on a dime, and something you talked about for a ton of time becomes a complete non-factor during the season. So we'll do that again this year. I thought it was a good exercise, and we'll see how well we are at predicting the future.
It's the best exercise I get.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right, so, for example, here was the first question I asked last year. Will Sam Ficken be the kicker for the whole year.
Will Ficken do the kicking?
Yeah.
I guess that
Remember
was
how much time we talked about Titans kickers last training camp?
What did I say?
It was unbelievable.
I think I said no.
Well, of course, unfortunately for him, he got hurt, and so we never saw him even try to kick. He never kicked in a game.
That's right.
He got hurt before the first game. Do you remember who came in and kicked the first game last year? It didn't go well.
Randy.
It didn't go well.
No, who was it? It was crap. I can't remember. I mean, I can, like, I see him, but I can't remember his name.
Michael Badgley.
Michael Badgley.
Who ended up kicking for what team last year?
Colts.
Yes. He did really well. He had a nightmare game in the first game, which the entire game was a nightmare against the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam Ficken never kicked in a real game for the
Titans.
Titans.
Didn't do the kicking.
And
No,
yet,
he didn't do the kicking.
I predicted he would kick the whole year for the Titans.
Ficken did
He
the
was
sitting.
perfect in the preseason.
So you were the one.
Perfect. I was the one.
Okay.
You said no. Darren said no. Over under 79.5 receptions for Julio Jones. Now, think about how much we talked about Julio Jones last summer.
Ooh. I said over, probably.
Nope. You and I said under. We got
Did we?
that right.
Okay.
Yeah, Darren said over.
Okay.
3, over under 1,550 yards for Derrick Henry. We set the over under.
I said over.
All of us said over.
And he would have been over had he not gotten hurt.
But see, we this is where we debated when the injury happened, is how do we view that? Now, in my view, getting injured is part of the deal.
Yep.
Right?
It's a lot. No, it's a loss.
Either you get it or you don't. When
you're betting,
when you make this prediction, you got to predict, is he going to get hurt?
Right.
Or how do you factor in if he does get hurt?
Injuries are a part of prop bets. I mean, if a guy gets hurt, a guy gets hurt.
Yeah, and yet what you're saying is entirely true. He was on pace to easily get that, even if he slowed down in the second half. And what many people pointed out as recently as yesterday is Derrick Henry usually does his best stuff.
Okay, rifle
in the second half
rifle
of the
through the rest of them real quick.
We had a question about Bud Dupree, 10 or more sacks. We know that didn't happen. He only had 3. We're going to have a redo on that question, a little sneak preview. What will the Titans' record be? We will do that again. You and I said 11-6. You said 12-5. Chase, you got it right on the nail. Nice job. We asked if the Titans would have 40 or more sacks, which would have been a huge improvement, like double the sack total that they had. Remember, they only had 19 the year before. Who will be the most productive receiver, not named Julio Jones or A.J. Brown? We all got that horribly wrong. We had the guesses were Anthony Ferkser and Josh Reynolds. We know that didn't happen.
Nope.
Third down efficiency. Remember how the Titans had been torched in 2020? They gave up 52% third down conversions, which is that was like unprecedented how poor that was, and yet they still won the division. They got way, way better in that last year. And so the question was, would they have better than the league average? And they absolutely did. They came through very well defensively last year. How about this one? Blast from the past. Question 9 was, will Darrington Evans be active for 10 or more games? Whoops.
Okay, I know Darren and I said no.
I can't read my writing.
I know we said no.
Yeah. We had Ryan Tannehill, 28.5 touchdown passes as the over-under. He definitely came under with that. And the bonus question, will either Caleb Farley or Dylan Radins be a starter by December? Technically, Dylan Radins did start a game in December because that was the one game he started. So by default,
everybody else was out.
Yeah, but we know Farley and Radins basically were non-factors, the first and second round picks last year.
It don't seem like neither one of them going to be a starter by this December.
I don't know about that. Farley might be. You never know. All right. We will come back with our 10 questions for this Titan season. Hopefully they'll be as entertaining as those. Again, you can participate, 615-737-1025. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 1025-1063, The Game.
You watch The Game.
He scores! Philip Forsberg!
We talk The Game.
Philip Forsberg stays here in Nashville, hearing the deal is done. 8 years, close to $70 million total.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Well, we made it, folks. The NFL season is finally starting, and the best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Joe Rexford here to let you know FanDuel's kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Does not matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account. You're going to get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. Look, there's a lot of things you can do, of course. You can go money lines, point spreads. You can do the game props, the player props. You can build things into a same-game parlay. I will tell you that I would go ahead and take the Titans and give the points. I feel good about that. If I'm wrong, you can come back and yell at me. And if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up with promo code Joe102 to get started. Again, that's promo code Joe102. Either way, celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. Refund issue is now withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680, or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick.
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
And former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
11 o'clock hour, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. 615-737-1025 is our number, our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It is time for our 10 Titans questions for this season. We're going to do 5 now and then 5 coming up next. Again, you can weigh in as we go along. We're going to spend the whole hour talking about these. So, Willie, you have come up with the questions. Derek and I have not seen the questions.
No,
and that is by design.
We
did not want to. We wanted you to hear the real, unfiltered response from the All-Pro receiver and the All-Pro
suit
guy.
The All-Pro suit, man. There
at
you
the
go.
buffet at Denny's or something. I don't know what I am.
Does Denny's have a buffet these days?
No, probably
Okay.
not. I just
Okay.
made that up.
Just
Anyway,
wondering.
go ahead.
All right.
Number one. Let's start off the year like we started last year and see how wacky this question looks by midseason and by the end of the season. Will Ryan Stonehouse be the punter for the entire season for the Titans? Derek, you go first.
Yeah, I think especially if Kern signs with another team, then barring injury, yeah, he's the kicker.
So do you think Kern will eventually sign with another team? Do you think somebody will make it worth his while? We've talked about the dynamics there where the state of his contract, et cetera. Like he's got guaranteed a certain amount of money.
I think you were out that day when we were talking about that. I brought that up that his contract is guaranteed. You know how when he restructured his deal, I think a team would have to really blow him away with an offer for him to give up that guaranteed money, especially if they wait after week 1 when nothing's guaranteed and it's week to week.
So that is the intrigue as we ask this question in a lot of people's minds because of the drama. It was a race throughout the camp. We speculated back and forth, and now it does appear there's a chance that unless somebody gives Brett Kern a great contract, he might just be sort of waiting in the wings in case Stonehouse gets hurt, etc. So how much do you believe in Stonehouse? You say...
I think he's the kicker for the entirety, unless there's an injury. But barring injury, I think he's the kicker.
Okay.
Well, his
injury is a part of it.
Okay.
Does he punt for the entire season? D-May says yes.
I'm going to say no.
You say
I
no.
believe that
somebody else is going to take the job.
Yeah, and I honestly believe it's Brett Kern. I don't feel like that door's closed at all for him or for the Titans. I think Stonehouse, they both had really good camps. That's the thing. Is this was Stonehouse is younger and cheaper, but they both had really good camps. And so I believe that, if there's a struggle at all, and keep this in mind, Stonehouse is the holder too. That's a very important job. Brett Kern did a tremendous job being the holder, and you don't just look past that.
Mm-hmm.
We saw and granted it's a college game, but getting the laces out and all those things, that a kicker wants, that's a very important job. So I mean, if there's a couple of botched holds and
it's a huge job, it's
some
a
bad
huge
punts.
job.
I mean, I think the leash is short on things with Ryan Stonehouse. So I'm going to say no.
Well, you better get Malik Willis ready to hold there. No, backup quarterbacks usually hold.
They used to all the time.
Yeah, well, remember Tony Romo was when he became the starter, he was still holding in the playoff game and botched the hold.
Absolutely.
They lost the game.
Oh, boy.
Dallas Cowboy fans.
Okay, I'm going to have faith in the rookie. I'm going to say yes, he will punt the whole year. But I think it is definitely something to watch because Mike Vrabel, this is a team they live on the razor's edge. We've talked about how well they've done in the one-score games. To do that, you got to have good special teams. All right, question number 2.
Number 2.
Oh, there you go. Big voice person hanging in there. Bud Dupree, 3 sacks last year. Now no Harold Landry, so I'll ask the same question I asked last year. Bud Dupree, double-digit sacks, 10 or more. Yes or no?
No.
D-May says no.
Why?
I think he benefited from having Harold Landry on the other side. He doesn't have him now, and we don't know if he's completely over that knee injury. We didn't see much of him in camp, so we don't know what he is. And he's never been, to me, that dominant, outside backer that he's putting consistent pressure on the quarterback. He's benefited from having really good line mates, whether it be in Pittsburgh. And he had his opportunity last year, but he just, he came back too soon and he was a shell of himself. I don't think he get double-digit sacks, especially with Harold Landry not being there.
He's had double-digit sacks once in his career. That was in 2019 with Pittsburgh with 11.5. He had 8 in 2020, his last year there, and as Willie mentioned, 3 last year.
And that's when he got hurt, so that wasn't a full season. So you could say
he was on
probably,
pace. Yeah, he was going to. This is a really good question. Real quick, speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin has officially named Mitch Trubisky the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So,
woohoo, Steeler fans.
There you go.
There you go.
Get excited about
quarterback of the future.
Get excited about that. I'm gonna say yes.
Ooh,
because he has to, and if he doesn't, it's somewhat of an indictment on John Robinson for giving him the contract that he did because he signed him even on a torn ACL. He overpaid him even on a torn ACL to come in and be that guy.
But I think he knew at the day that he did that he was overpaying.
Yeah,
he was
overpaying. I think he had to. He was desperate.
Yes.
He was desperate to get a pass rusher because, quite frankly, he had not addressed pass rusher like he should have. He tried with He tried with he drafted Landry. He tried with
Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon Clowney, thank you. And that didn't work. And so I think he knew that he had to get this right, and he felt that Dupree was the right move. I liked the signing, but I agree, he overpaid him.
Okay.
So I think he's got to live up to that.
I think he'll do much better, but I'm still going to say no on double-digit sacks. I think he can be productive, but I'm keeping my expectations down. I say he will not get to double digits. Okay. time for number 3.
Number 3.
What will the Titans' record be? Just give it to me straight. What's the record?
I'd say 11-6.
D-Mace goes 11-6, which is what I said last year. Remember, this comes back to a big stat we've been talking about. Can they keep winning the close games at the pace that they have the last couple of years? They've got 23 wins over the last 2 years combined. 13 of them have been by one score or less. They are 13-4 in those games. You think about as many times as they've had to make a kick at the end of the game. And I remember the Bill Parcells Giants teams, in the late 80s, in the mid-80s, they had a dominant team. But there was a couple of great Bill Parcells Giants teams. One won the Super Bowl when they beat the 49ers in San Fran when the 49ers were trying to repeat. It just seemed like every game that they needed to make the big game-tying or game-winning kick, they did it. So you can win this way in the league, but your margin for error isn't big. And this is the mystery question. The analytics people are saying you just can't do it every year. Can this – I think for the Titans to win the division, they're going to need, again, to do well in the very close games again. So
I'm going to say 11-6, and I'll even go further to say that they will split with the Colts.
11-6 is what Chase says. I am going to go 10-7. 10-7. I think it's going to be a very, very tight division.
That might not get them in the playoffs, Willie. 10-7.
My theory is that the Jaguars are going to make a jump, and so it'll be a very balanced 10-7, and they still will sneak in. They could still sneak in.
Okay.
To the playoffs.
Well, you're talking about that 7th spot.
Or a division where 10 wins the division. I think that's possible too. Let's say the Titans and Colts are both 10-7.
Well, they would have to have either beaten the Colts twice or
win the division record.
Yeah, have a better division record.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then what if the Jags are 8-9 or 7-10?
Yeah. Makes it tough.
Could be in there.
Could be interesting.
So
And look, I mean, we already said they got a tough schedule, but I mean, you look down the stretch. You got to go at the Chargers, even though this goes back to San Diego. They've always played awful at the Chargers. Like they've just like that has been a bugaboo for them. So granted, this is LA, but they got to play Dallas. I think Dallas is going to be pretty good. So it's a tough stretch.
Okay, question 5 before the break. We put our number down. We got to live with it.
Was that?
That was number 4.
The record was 4.
Oh, I wrote. You know what? That was 3. I wrote my answers down in number 4.
Guy makes questions. I didn't even know the order.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire! What am I doing?
Thank you, Jerry Lee Willie.
All right, let's get this. Let's get this last one in. Derek Henry, over or under? And we went by the website here, DraftKings. Over or under 1,350.5 yards. 1,350 is the over/under in Vegas. We all know what goes into the final number, right? You got to be plays. You got to be out there.
If it's 1,350,
if he plays
it's
17
wrong.
games, I think we got a pretty good idea that he'll probably get there. But
if you take the over, you need 1,351.
I know. Give me yes.
You say over
1,351.
D-Mace, if you didn't say yes, I mean
I've been on it. I'm going to stay on it.
You've been a believer.
Yeah, I've been a believer of Derrick Henry. You know, even if he drops off, you know, him dropping off of 1,500 yards is still the best running back, if not, then the second best in regards to yardage for the season.
All right. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I want to see a leaner, less is more. I think he's going to be a productive player, but I think if I'm saying there's just too many ways he could end up with under 1,350, I'm going to say under this time. And I'm hoping wrong.
But if he's your best offensive weapon, don't you want him to get the ball all the time?
Look, you bring up a valid concern, and you keep bringing this up, but I don't think he cares, and I don't think they care.
Yeah,
they're going to run him.
They're going to care if he's not. They're going to care if he's not, but not if he's running ineffectively. That's the question.
But I think he's going to. I say over.
Over.
He's going to hit over.
So I'm. Everybody got burned on this last year because we all said over 1,550. Well, yeah, but that's part of it.
But my thing is, if he's not running effectively, I don't think it will be because of him.
Ben says on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, Henry can miss 5 games and still get $13.50 easy.
That's possible too. If he gets the ball 27 times a game, but he's a year older, he's coming off an injury, everything's different.
Hey, he rests for half the season.
Yeah.
He got no tread on his tires.
Look, I would be a hypocrite if I.
Yeah, there was no way.
If I said over, I would be a hypocrite because I've been pointing out all of these things that the analytics people look at and say there's been a little bit of decline in his ability even when he was healthy. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am proven wrong big time and he shatters 1350.
Okay, was that 4 or 5?
That was 4.
Okay. Coming up next, we'll do the rest.
Gotcha.
Yes. So we will do that. 615-737-1025. Our 10 Titans questions for the season. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I bought jewelry in New York. I bought jewelry in LA. I bought jewelry in South Beach. I bought jewelry internationally.
Business owner Adam Rothberg knows jewelry, and of all the stores he shopped over the years, his number one place to go, it's right here, Genesis Diamonds.
There's not a real big reason to go visit a lot of other jewelry stores. Everything that you hope to find everywhere else, you may get bits and pieces of it from others, but you come here and it's a one-stop shop. It's everything that you need to have.
From the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds to the top designer brands in the world, to a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You really don't need to go anywhere else. Quality of the pieces, obviously a large selection, a selection that fits into a lot of people's budget, and then obviously good counsel and good advocacy for the people that work here that actually know the pieces and know the jewelry business.
And who aren't paid on commission.
They're not pushy. No hard sell.
All this plus the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry, plus nationwide price protection and free service for life on any purchase.
Service you get from Genesis is second to none.
Come discover the store that's got it all. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Tune in to ESPN 102.5 The Game every Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 for ESPN's Trevor Maddich joining me, Jared Stillman, on Stillman & Company as we dive deep into the college football world and all the latest from the SEC. It's all brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Now's the time to make a message known. All working-class Tennesseans vote no on Amendment 1 this voting season. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Hardworking families deserve to have their needs addressed in today's economy. Visit TennesseeWorkerAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
615-737-1025. Chase Willie and D Mace, our 10 Titans questions of the year. And during the break, Willie was teaching us how to throw the knuckleball.
Well, I'm not a teacher of the knuckleball. We're going to call R.A. Dickey for that one. And that's an art form that takes years. I would recommend, though, that you should try to learn how to throw a knuckleball. If you're for a young baseball player, you should try to learn, because think about R.A. and the people that have mastered it, you pitch forever.
Yeah. Well, mine, I didn't throw the knuckleball with my first pitch. It was more like a 35-mile-an-hour eephus.
That can be effective. That can be effective.
I believe if there had been a batter up there, even though it was a little short of the plate, they still would have swung. I feel good about that.
You notice sometimes they put position players in games late now if they want to save relievers. And
who else did that?
That's what most of them do now. They come in and they throw the eephus because they know as hard as they can throw it. If you throw it straight and no arc on it, they're going to get absolutely pummeled. So if you put a little eephus on it, it's a little harder to hit.
So our Titans questions, we're asking that, not about throwing eephus pitches. But
exactly.
1 through 4, will Ryan Stonehouse punt all season for the Titans? Will Bud Dupree post double-digit sacks? What will be the Titans' overall record? And will Derrick Henry rush for over or under 1,350 yards?
Yes.
Now we move on.
Number 5. Will the Titans have a receiver? And I'm counting tight ends in this as well, the receiver group. Will the Titans have a receiver with over 800 yards through the air?
Ooh. I like how you asked.
So the leading receiver, 800 yards.
See, I thought he was going to ask 1,000. He asked 800. That changes it.
Okay.
Well, we looked through the history of the Titans a couple of times this summer. There aren't a lot of 1,000-yard seasons.
We're sitting next to one of them.
4 of them. I mean, he had 4. Then there's Drew Bennett, and then there's a couple A.J. Brown. There's just not a lot.
Did Drew have one?
Drew had one.
He had
Kendall
Wright.
Kendall Wright had one.
Kendall Wright had one. Nate Washington had one.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take you very long to go down the list.
Delaney Walker had one.
I don't think he ever got to 1,000.
He didn't get to 1,000?
I don't think he ever had 1,000. I don't think.
Nate Washington barely got over it with 1023 is what he had in 2011.
Now, remember, you have the 17th game now, so you have more games to get the counting stats here. But we're all kind of hedging our bets. We've all kind of wondered, what do we think? So you got the new
over
tight
800?
ends, 800.
AJ had 2. Is that right?
AJ had 2.
Okay. What do you say, Derek?
Will they have a guy get 800?
Here's my logic behind my answer. You only have to average 50 yards per game because there's 17 games, okay? If you can't average 50 yards per game with 17 games, your passing game is if no one, and I mean no one has over 850.
Just one guy's got to do it.
If no one has over 850 in your offense, your passing game is inept.
And they're not making the playoffs.
They're not. Okay, it's going to be very hard for them unless they spread it around the different guys.
Let me bring that to the table. A little history lesson. We went over this. The 2008 team, 13-3. Yeah. The leading receiver was Justin Gage.
700 and some yards.
He didn't have 800. Yeah. 99.
But 2K, what's guy had 2,000 yards, and then Lindell.
No, that was not 2,000 yards for CJ, but that was the smash and dash.
Yeah,
they both were very effective. They ran the heck out of the ball, played great defense. The 99 team, did anybody have 800?
I think Kevin. No.
I don't know.
Kevin might have had 700. He might have had 800. Kevin. Because Yancey was hurt. Carl Pickens was hurt.
Stuff happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
That was not a team that relied on throwing the ball very
Carl
much.
Pickens we had Carl
2000.
Pickens.
Pickens was in 2000, not 99.
No. So it was Yancey.
Yeah, Yancey was in 99.
Yancey was hurt majority of that season, in and out of the lineup.
The leading receiver.
Pickens was 2000.
Okay.
The leading receiver was Frank Wycheck with yards in Kevin Dyson in 99.
Yeah.
And he had, in 1999, the Super Bowl year, 658 yards, led the team. 658. Nobody even had 700 in 1999. But times have changed, right?
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Back then, it wasn't. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah. It's a different day and age. I think in this day and age, if you don't have a pass catcher, over 850 yards, your passing game is inept unless you have like 3 or 4 guys that got like 800 and some yards. But it doesn't seem like the Titans, that's going to be the Titans' fate. So I would say, yes, they're going to have someone over 850. If they don't, it would be a monumental disappointment.
Okay, so you say yes, somebody will get 800. Somebody.
Just
one guy.
One guy.
And if you had to guess, it would be most likely?
I think most likely, man, because the caveat is Gordon. But more than likely, it's Woods.
Yeah, Woods is the guy, I think, that is most likely to do it.
Uh-huh.
All right, but Chase, do you think?
I say yes. I say they
somebody.
will.
You're saying somebody will.
And you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. I think it's Treylon Burks.
Okay, well, to save your thoughts
on
Treylon.
McCourty said he would be Rookie of the Year.
He did. I don't know if he's going to be Rookie of the Year, but I could see him being a late bloomer.
I'm going to say yes as well. Somebody will get to 800, although I've just talked to you about some really good Titans teams. The 2008, Justin Gage led the team, a 13-3 team with 651.
But
so twice the Titans have had excellent teams where the leading receiver hasn't even had 700.
But would either one of you put Justin Gage at that point in time in the same ilk as Robert Woods?
No,
I wouldn't either. I mean, I think Robert Woods is a better receiver.
That's a fair point. All right, so we all say yes. We move on to number 6.
Number 6.
Now let's get to Treylon Burks specifically. Mm-hmm. And I tried to not be redundant, so I put it this way. Over or under 75 targets for the season. So basically how I looked at it is that's 4.5 per game, around 4.5 per game. 4.5 targets.
Now, see, targets can be misleading in a sense because any ball in his direction, it could be a throwaway. But if it's in his direction, if it falls a yard or two in front of him,
you're right.
Or over his head, it's in his direction.
You can bring that to the table if you're wrong, if that's happening a lot. But I think the key is, for me, when I come up with this, I want to know how many times they're touching the ball. I heard you say a lot during the preseason, Mace. You want to just find ways to get the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. Okay? So we feel like he's not on the depth chart as a starter. How quickly can he pick things up? Is he going to play more snaps? But in the meantime, can they find ways to have him make a play here and two?
My answer is yes.
You say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So to give you
I'm not counting carries as a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they give it to him on a reverse. Of course, now a lot of times you see what the Dolphins do. They bring him in front of the quarterback, so
that's a pass,
and that's a pass. So that would count.
Yeah.
To give you a reference point, and I don't know how scientific this really is, but he's compared to him. A.J. Brown's rookie year, he was targeted 84 times.
84 times. That's not that many. More.
Robert Woods.
That was 16 games, though.
Robert Woods last year, before he got hurt, was 69 times. So, obviously, in the year before, he was 129. He had been in the 130s with the Rams offense. I'm going to say over. I mean, look, if my prediction of him, being the guy that has over 800 yards, he would have to be targeted more than 75
times.
So
you're double dipping on that one, doubling down. Both say over.
I've been known to do that.
I hope it's over because to me, if it's over, that means he's progressing and he's doing what they hope
he's
he will
learning.
do. I mean, there's so
he's
much
in the playbook.
In the big picture. There's so much riding on how well he does. He's got to contribute for this team to stay relevant, stay where they want to be. I'm going to be the skeptic. I'm going to say not quite. I'm going to say he's a little bit under. I'm concerned about availability, and we'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm going under.
Let's pause. Let's pause for a second. We'll come back with more.
7 through 10.
7 through 10, because I like that. We're talking these out.
Yeah.
And again, 615.
We're going to keep coming back to this, right? These are all key themes of if these go right, then good things are going to happen for this team. But these are the questions.
Yeah, 615-737-1025. You can weigh in our 10 Titans questions of the year. We're doing this the rest of the hour. 615-737-1025. But first, Willie, tell us about QC Kinetics.
All right, earlier in the show.
Like Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, you might have heard Emmitt Smith talking about this. There's probably a day that people were asking in Dallas, how many carries for Emmitt Smith? Is Emmitt Smith done? Of course, he's the all-time leading rusher in football history. But QC Kinetics, Emmitt's the spokesperson for them, and he is basically putting out there what I've been saying, same message. If you want to keep moving and you are hindered by joint pain and you can't shake it, it's time to do something about it. QC Kinetics is ready to help you with that. Don't put it off any longer. It's time to get real lasting relief from the chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulder, whatever's bothering you. They can get you moving again with the cutting-edge regenerative treatments. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. They take the highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough, natural approach to eliminating the joint pain. So listen to Emmitt and give them a call for the free consultations right here in our listening area. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. One more time, 615-249-4024.
Hi, I'm UC Saros. And this is Smashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by UC Saros there. Unreal.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680, or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or higher, you need to call Loan Pronto now. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you need to take advantage, whether you are buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today, and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Okay, everyone gather around. I have some exciting
Running her shoe factory, Kendra talks the talk and walks the walk.
We're switching to green energy.
She needs a biotech consultant to erase her carbon footprint.
All operations will net zero emissions.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Back here, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in tonight for Nashville Sounds Baseball at 5:35 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds are on the road taking on the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. NASCAR has announced that their annual awards banquet will return to Nashville for the third time on December 1st.
Very nice. One correction, too, on Delaney Walker.
I told you, Delaney.
You're right.
You guys were right.
You were right, and
I was wrong.
We had a texter.
Come on, man. Give it up to my dude, man.
2015, he had 1,088.
Give it up to him, man.
And thank you to our unnamed texter for pointing that out, and D-Mace.
Hey, that's a feat to, that's something to accomplish in a Titans uniform for a tight end to have over 1,000 yards.
And that is part of our questions, the 10 Titans questions. If you just joined us, number 1, will Ryan Stonehouse be the punter for the entire season? These are the biggest questions coming out of training camp. 2, Bud Dupree in year 2, 10 or more sacks. 3, what will the Titans' record be? Derrick Henry, over or under 1,350 yards. 5, will the Titans have any receiver, tight end or wide receiver, even a running back, with over 800 yards receiving? 6, Traylon Burks, over or under 75 targets his rookie season. And that brings us to question number 7. Titans, defense, over or under 40 sacks. Last year they had 43, which was tied for 9th most in the league. And that was on the heels of having just 19 the year before. So they made a huge upgrade in that area. We know they will have to do this without Harold Landry this year. So
you're
40.
asking the same question?
No.
You asked
sounds
40
like the
last
same
year.
question.
Last year it was double from what they had before. So it was technically 38. They had 43.
But I thought you asked it, would they have
Exactly.
over 40?
That's what you just said earlier, Willie.
I did, yes, I did. 40 plus.
Okay, it's the same question.
Exactly. It's the same question.
I thought I asked it differently.
Come on, that's
I guess
not
I should
cutting
look
edge,
at
Willie.
my own writing. I guess I should look at
on,
my own
man.
writing. Yeah.
All right, what do you say,
Come
Derek?
on, Commish. This is why I get threatened to
People
get
wanna-
fired as the commissioner.
People want to replace you as commissioner,
Yeah.
man. Come on,
There's
now,
a reason.
Willie.
There's
Well,
a
he's
reason.
been replaced on one show.
Yeah.
as commissioner.
Yes, I have. In an alternate universe.
Yes.
40 plus or
Yep.
just 40?
Over or under 40?
I say under. I think the loss of Harold Landry is going to be big. I don't think Bud Dupree is going to, be that guy that the Titans thought he was going to be when they signed him. He didn't show it last year, and now he doesn't have his road dog on the side of him in Landry, his partner in crime or partner in sacks. So I don't see him getting double digits, and I don't see this team getting over 40 sacks.
I'm going to disagree with you. I say over. I think
I still think they're going to be a good defense, but I just don't think they're going to get the 40 sacks.
I think they will. I think they're going to – somebody's going to step up.
Mm-hmm.
I see the other thing is, and even though he's not a huge sack getter, this is a big year for Jeff Simmons. So Jeffrey Simmons is going to be hungry because he knows he's trying to get paid. And I mean, he already deserves to get paid, but I think maybe he might add to his sack total and get a little bit more than you would expect out of him.
What did he have, 8 last year?
Yeah, I think that's right. He had 8.5.
Oh, 8.5, okay.
So I think he gets double digits this year.
Yeah, now if that was the question, I would say
Because, I mean,
yes.
he jumped from 3 to 8.5.
Yeah.
And, again, that's a position, but he's a monster. He gets to the quarterback. So I'm going to say over.
I will agree with you, Chase. I say over. I am a big believer in it's more about the team sacks. It's, it doesn't really matter who gets the sack, but who is creating opportunity. You may be creating an opportunity for somebody else to get a sack like Simmons could do.
How many did they have last year, Willie?
43.
Okay.
Ninth most in the league.
So they had 43
and that
last
doesn't count
year.
the 9
Yeah,
in
I
the
was about to say
playoff
they
game.
had 9 in the playoff game.
You say 43. Well, that's 10 from Harold Landry. What, he had 10 and a
He
half?
had 12.
12. That's
Yeah.
12 from Harold Landry, 3 from Bud Dupree. So essentially Bud Dupree has to get 15 sacks. Or somebody has to, or 2 people
It's committee.
have to get 7 apiece.
If you add, like, let's say Simmons gets 12.5 instead of 8.5, so that's 4 more.
Okay.
That he adds to his total. All right. Let's say Dupree, I said he's going to get double-digit sacks. So let's say he gets 9. That's 11.
Okay.
So you've added. You've done it right there.
Essentially, it can. It can be. You're right. It can be done, but
And Rashard Weaver's going to. He's going to get some.
Yeah.
He's going to add.
It can be done, but when you remove a player of Landry's ability, then other guys have to step.
Well,
and
that's where
typically-
Dupree.
yeah,
That's where
typically-
Dupree is so important.
Absolutely.
He only had 3
Typically,
the
when
whole year.
When a
last year.
guy comes in behind the guy, typically it does drop off some. You're just hoping that Dupree goes from 3 sacks to 10 sacks or 11 sacks.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, too, Derek, that we haven't even mentioned yet. He brought, Danico Autry talked about Danico Autry being listed as an outside linebacker now. Playing the interior, he had 9 sacks last year.
Yeah.
For this team. You put him outside, what does that do? If he's getting more opportunity, and he's more of he is a pass rusher by trade, you add that,
But there's a difference, I believe, in I could be wrong. I'm not 100% in this. But there's a difference with playing the interior and then putting a guy on the outside and having him rush the passer. The ability to rush the passer from the inside is a little bit different from the ability to rush the pass on the outside. So he's a damn good inside interior rusher and getting to the pass. Why? Because he's teamed up with Jeffrey Simmons. And everybody's putting their attention on Jeffrey. He's getting a lot of one-on-one. He may not be as effective as at the outside linebacker position rushing a passer.
So, all right.
Indy Ben has weighed in on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Notice his name is Indy Ben. Homer radio at its finest, courtesy of Willie and Chase. He spelled your name right, though.
Yeah, 2 people say 11-6, and a guy say 10-7. I don't think that's Homer radio.
Yeah. Leave my homies alone, man.
Yeah.
Indy Ben.
Hey, enjoy your 75-year-old quarterback.
I said under on Burks targets. I said
Willie,
on Derrick Henry.
Willie, you don't have to justify your answers, man.
Come on, Indy. Listen to the show. I know.
Just because
he is listening.
He was harassing the morning show too. Indy Ben was.
We love it. No, keep listening.
Look, and it's fine. Like you're a Colts fan. I get it.
I love it.
That's fine.
It's good. We invite the banter. Okay. Moving on to question number
7.
This would be number 8.
Number 8.
The rookie.
Number 9.
The rookie.
Well, I don't know. I'm glad we devoted an hour to this because it might take an hour and a half.
This is a number between 1 and 10. It's actually number 8.
Go ahead.
Ryan Tannehill, over or under 10.5 interceptions. Last year, 14 interceptions. Most he had in any season for a Titan. Now, remember, there's an extra game. In 2020, he threw only 7. And that was in the entire 16-game season. In 2019, when he took over for 10 starts down the stretch, he threw only 6. So he threw more interceptions last year than he did in the previous 2 seasons combined. So that's why I set the number at 10.5.
Did he have more
or under?
I think Tannehill
had more attempts. He had 500.
This is part of it?
He had 531 attempts last year. Now, obviously, that was because they lose Derrick Henry, so he's throwing the ball more.
That's part of it. Is how many times you put it up in the air.
I think on average, his career, if you just look at his career, he's a 23 to 25 touchdown guy per year and maybe 11 interceptions. I need to go back and look at that, but
hang on, I'm doing the math for you right now.
I think it's somewhere around there. So I'm more inclined to agree that he has 10. He has
10.5 is the over/under.
He has 11.
So you're going over.
No! Don't put it down to ink just yet. I'm waiting on Chase to give me the numbers.
I told you the numbers. 14 last year.
No, I'm saying his overall numbers, like on average, what is he?
Okay, I'll give you the year by year. 13, 17, 12, 12, 12, and then 9 is last year in Miami.
11.3.
11.3? Okay.
So I'm going, yes, he's 10. He will have 11 interceptions. And what is he touchdown-wise? He's like 25, right? Somewhere around there, 23, 25.
199 touchdown passes in 133 games.
Well, I'm just doing it.
Just go about
9 years.
9 years.
9 into 200?
21.1 or 22.1.
Okay. So, yeah, that's
and remember,
I got him over 10 interceptions.
And remember, there are circumstances that go into it. He was sacked 47 times last year. He was under all kinds of heat. We know what happened with the availability of the receivers. So, it's not all riding on this stat, but I think that's a good one to gauge.
Yeah. So I say
Derek
yes.
says slightly over.
Yes.
So for reference on the sacks, that was the second most times he's been sacked in his career.
Yeah, and we mentioned too it wasn't just that. It was the pressure, the percentage of time he was under pressure and not protected very well. He had a lot of tip balls. In fact, Football Outsiders tracked there were several more balls that were tipped that easily could have been intercepted that were not. A couple that were dropped interceptions. So it could have been higher last year.
I say he go back to his norm, 11 interceptions.
Okay. So you're not saying he's going to have an awful
No,
year,
he's
but
not
you're
gonna have
saying
an
over
awful
10
year.
and a
Yeah.
half. Okay.
I'm going to say slightly over.
You say over.
Yep, I think his average is right on.
I'm going to say over as well because I'm worried about protection. I still think they're going to have some issues there.
I think that's fair. All right.
We're going to go
we're gonna
go for the full Monty here. We got 2 more to go.
We're going to pause, and then we'll get the others as we answer our 10 Titans questions. A lot of you have weighed in on these as well. We'll read some responses.
Very nice.
615-737-1025, our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
On Fox 17, Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus forecast for today very comfortable, very similar to your Wednesday. High temperatures upper 80s to right near 90 degrees, low humidity, and no rain chances for today. A few showers and storms late in the day for your Friday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
College football season is here. Finally, it's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company. From week 1 of the national championship, 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
It's time for another Kubota field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year takes place on Thursday, September 15th at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo tractors, zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250. Plus, enter to win an Orca cooler. Try it and buy it at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot for Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field Event, Thursday, September 15th. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
Ad paid for by the Victims Justice Group. Attention military personnel, families, and civilians who were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987. If you or a loved one lived, served, or worked at Camp Lejeune, then you must listen to this message as you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. The U.S. Senate recently passed a bill that will allow all those who lived or worked at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina for at least 30 days to seek justice for injuries caused by toxic water. If you or a loved one suffered injuries associated with the toxic water found at Camp Lejeune, including cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's disease, adult leukemia, or aplastic anemia, then call us today for your free consultation. 800-723-5754. Don't wait. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. 800-723-5754. Call 800-723-5754. That's 800-723-5754.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 1.
Chase William, D. Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Phil Collins here with you. Nick Keyser on the ones and twos. He's hit Indiana Jones. He's got a little Phil Collins going here. We're starting to work on. He's branching out.
He's branching out. This was my song I listened before every high school basketball game.
We listened to this song. This was Ray Lewis's request. It had to be played during stretch before the game.
Nice.
Like every home game. And when we were done, you would hear the do-do.
You got to have that.
You bring that up. I'm going to put this out here. We've all worked together for 6-7 years now, and Ray Lewis has never been on this station.
It's hard to catch up with that dude. I'm telling you.
You got to make this happen.
It's hard to.
If anybody can do it, it's you.
I even just called the dude to say what's happening. And it's hard to get a response.
What's the haps on the craps?
Yeah, man. It's hard to get a response, man.
Okay.
You know,
well, you work on it.
You know these Hall of Famers, man. Yeah,
I mean, I quote him every day. I'm pissed off for greatness.
And these Hall of Famers, man, you know, they're on
All right.
a different level.
Answering our 10 Titans questions, I think we're on number 9.
Number 9.
It's a good question. You think we're on number 9. You're right. We are on number 9. Just a quick review. Will Ryan Stonehouse be the punter the entire season? Bud Dupree in year 2, 10 or more sacks. What will the Titans' record be? Derrick Henry, over or under 1,350 yards rushing. Will the Titans have a receiver? Over 800 yards. Tight end, wide receiver, or running back. Traylon Burks, the rookie, over or under 75 targets for the season. Titans, over or under 40 sacks by the defense. Ryan Tannehill, over or under 10.5 interceptions. Now we move on to number 9. Taylor Lewan has missed 19 games the last 3 seasons combined. Suspension, injury, etc. Over or under 14.5 starts for Taylor Lewan this year?
That's a good question.
Because, as we know, this is the context of the question is they're thin on the offensive line. They have question marks. Now, they've done a pretty good job considering he's missed that many games. They've won a lot of games the last 3 seasons with him missing that much time. But they could really use him being an anchor, a bounce back. You could argue he's due to play 17. He's due to not get injured. But he is getting up there in age. So what do we think?
Well, in previous years, they've always had a swing tackle. So if Taylor was not playing, they had that ability with Dennis Kelly or Quisenberry to kind of swap guys and know they're not Taylor Lewan, but they can get the job done. Well, this year, they don't have that luxury of a swing tackle. They just don't. And I do not, and I repeat, I do not want to see ratings at tackle. I don't.
Not going to happen.
I would offer them Chase before I ask them to put ratings in the game.
First play from scrimmage. All right, I'm ready. And then I just get drilled.
But I think
what happened to Chase? He got run over by a linebacker.
Look at him. Don't you see him over there? He's still on the ground.
Where?
We suck again.
Where am I?
I think this is the year that Taylor. What did you say? Over
14.5.
I think this is the year that
so
Taylor.
he could still miss 2 games, and you're still okay.
I think this is the year Taylor plays all 17 games. I don't think he will miss. I think he'll play 14, but I do believe he will play all 17 games this year.
Okay, so you're
they
going
need
over.
him. Yeah, they need him to play all 17 games.
This team really needs a good, solid year from him.
I'm going to say over 2, but I'm going to add this that.
So you're saying he will play. Derek's saying he will play over 14.5.
Yeah, I'll say over. Over
you
14
say over as well.
Over 14.5.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this. I will never. There was a time that I might have questioned, Taylor's commitment, things like that. I mean, I'll never forget that day. Several years ago, you and I were on the air, Derek. That it was after a Thursday night loss, and it was early in his career. He owned the suspension. He owned the fact that he was getting too many pre-snap penalties, and he fixed it. You can say what you want about him, about the podcast and like the stuff off the field. I mean, he's made a commitment this year that he's off social media.
Yep, he's stuck to that so far.
He's not doing the podcast during the season. Will Compton's handling that. on his own. So I'm not going to question the guy's commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
it's
not
just, where this question is coming from.
And I know. I'm
Yeah.
just people will and people do, and I'm saying not to. I think it's all about his body now. Can his body hold up?
That's the question.
And I mean, he's played at a high level for a long time, but I'm going to say over. I think he plays the whole season.
Okay, I'm going to go under.
Oh.
And I don't think it's going to be anything major, but I just think he's just one of those guys where it's really tough. And as you get older, it doesn't get easier.
So you're looking more so at that knee than anything. You think a reoccurrent
I don't even
If I
swelling
look back
or
to
something.
it, last year it wasn't always the knee. Now the knee was bothering him. Like that was the thing that he discussed a lot. Was this past off season he could really have an off season. The year before it was all coming back from the knee, and it led to some other things. So I'm trying to remember. Remember the game in the warm up? It went out on him, and then of course he had the really scary moment in the Monday night game against the Bills. So this year again, maybe I'm just doing this because I'm hoping I'm wrong for a lot of these, but I'm going to go under.
Okay.
So that brings us to our final question. That would be number
10.
Yes, we got it right. We finished on a high note. The most productive. Now, this is one that's going to be up for debate a little bit. This is subjective, but I think it's a good question. The most productive Titan rookie, not named Traylon Burks, will be fill in the blank.
Oh, this is easy for me.
So we have, unless you want to say Theo Jackson or Chance Campbell, which, you never know. But Kyle Phillips, Roger McCreary, Nicholas Petit-Frere. I mean, those three guys are going to start. Malik Willis, of course, which we hope it doesn't happen, but you never know. A season-ending injury could change things. Hassan Haskins, Chig Okonkwo. This rookie class looks like they're going to be in the mix.
They're going to contribute.
Yeah.
This
So
rookie class.
So we could argue because if you're comparing an offensive lineman to a wide receiver to a running back, this is a tough question to we could debate.
It's easy for me.
Okay.
This is easy for me.
Give it to me.
Well, I went. Derek's
Give it
going
to me
first.
now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. You want me to go first? It's between two guys for me, even though the outside guy to me is Nicholas Petit-Frere. He's the outside guy. But, man, I want to say Kyle Phillips. I really do. I want to say I'm bad, really bad, because not only is he their slot guy, but he's their returner too. And he showed promise in the preseason with returns. But I think McCreary.
You say Roger McCreary?
I'm putting Roger McCreary.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I think this guy's battle-tested. I think he really is, and I think he benefited his last year with having Coach Mason as his coach. Aggressive, man-to-man. He's played against some of the best wide receivers in the SEC, guys that were top, 10, 15 picks in the NFL draft. So I think this kid is ready. So I'm picking
good.
McCreary.
I'm glad you said McCreary because I'm going to say Kyle Phillips. It's
Okay.
easy for me. I was talking to somebody that we used to work with about this last night, actually. I think there is a chance that I think Traylon Burks is going to have a productive season, but I think Kyle Phillips is vastly underrated, and especially with the position that he's going to play. I mean, he could have – I heard somebody compare him to Hunter Renfrow. He could be like a Hunter Renfrow type, with the Raiders. I think he's going to be a really good pickup, so I'm going to say him.
I'm going to go with Nicholas Petit-Frere, and I think if he survives and starts the entire year, that's a big
Keyword
big
there
plus.
is survive.
I think that's a big plus. If he sticks as the right tackle, that means really good things for this team. So it'll be debatable, right? We're going to debate this because there'll be grades and things like that. But I think he'll get better. I like his makeup. I like his mindset. I'm going with Nicholas.
Quickly, and to add on to this, and this is going to be this is a hot take for me.
Ooh.
If he remains the starter for the full year, he will be a Pro Bowler.
Nicholas Petit-Frere?
Yes.
Ooh. But he's not your but you're still going McCreary.
Yeah, I'm going. But they're different positions.
Yeah, no question.
They're different positions.
And so we'll
he
argue.
can do his job and be silent at doing his job. And as long as he's not messing up, nobody talks about him.
Well, I think with us naming three guys and not name Traylon Burks, it shows you how important this rookie class is.
It's very important.
But I think, to your point, Kyle Phillips, for the short term, is better than Burks, but I think in the long term,
sure,
Burks would be better. Kyle Phillips is ready to play now.
I think you want them both to work out, though.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
That's honestly what you want. All right, coming up next, Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst. I'm sure some of these questions will come up with him. That is all next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch The Game.
Shot on the score. Philip Tomasino on the power play.
We talk The Game.
I think the Predators have significantly upgraded with him in the top 6.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
If you have the first overall pick, select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, a $50 bonus card for the commish, and $5 bonus card for every drafter. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/fantasy draft for info.
Life stresses can take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit, but there are simple, enjoyable remedies that may help aid these, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. So excited to be talking to you about the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, OrderGreen.com. Their wide selection of THC and CBD products will ensure you find a fit for your needs with discreet, same-day shipping nationwide. For me, for inflammation, for stress relief, it's a tremendous product. That's right, THC, CBD, right to your doorstep. Use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the start of the NFL season is finally here, and the best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is kicking off Week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a new customer or already have an account, you'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. I really like the Titans and their Week 1 matchup against the Giants. -5.5. Give me the Titans all day long on that, but you take it any way you want to take it. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, just sign up with promo code ROB to get started. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Either way, you can celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, or build out a same-game parlay as well for a chance to win a bigger payout with a small bet. Whatever you do, make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. A max refund of $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
We are Cromwell Media, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Get your sexy on.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 12 o'clock hour. Tim Hasselbeck, presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com. Cash in on all your favorites. Sign up at BetUS.com. Use the promo code 1025 for up to 200% off, or a 200% sign-on bonus. Timmy, how you doing?
Great. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. We just asked, Willie just asked 10 Titans questions for the season, which we had a lot of fun with last year. And so I'm sure he'll ask you a couple of those. But one that I have that, wasn't on there, obviously all eyes are going to be on Treylon Burks as the replacement for A.J. Brown long-term. But do you believe short-term, as the unofficial depth chart lists Nick Westbrook-Akine as a starter, that he can be the replacement right now for A.J. Brown in addition to having Robert Woods?
No, because I think they're different players. I don't think you can like with the guy, like with how it stands now, I don't think in terms of the type of player that there's like a one-for-one response to it. I don't think that in terms of fixing it. I don't think that's the case. Look, A.J. Brown, and I get like, how it ended, and they've readdressed the position, but like A.J. Brown you had the ability to say, all right, we're going to isolate him, and if we get single coverage, then more times than not, we are going to like that opportunity, and we're going to give the quarterback a green light to test it, and then there's going to be good run after the catch, associated with it. To me, I think the hope is at some point that Treylon Burks, becomes that. I think Westbrook-Akina, is not that. And quite honestly, like Robert Woods, who's a fantastic wide receiver, I don't believe that he's that. So, I don't think that they're going to pick up production that way from him.
Okay, that's a fair point. Last year, the Titans opened the season against Arizona, and I don't think nobody really knew what Arizona was going to be. It was an awful opening week for the Titans, and then, of course, we know they bounce back and they win the AFC and go on to the playoffs where they lose to the Bengals. But how much do you think Mike Vrabel uses last year as kind of a teaching tool to not underestimate any opponent in week one and to try and set the tone?
Yeah, I think there's probably an element of that, and I think there's also probably an element of, if the game doesn't go the way you want it to go, to make sure that nobody's pressing the panic button. And so, I think there's probably all of that. And maybe that, if there's enough veteran leadership, which there clearly is, just between quarterback, some of the offensive linemen, between, someone like Kevin Byard or, any other leader on that defense, there's enough people I think went through last year to be like, hey, like this is an NFL game. Like, yes, it's the New York Giants. People have a perception of them right now, but look, Saquon Barkley could have 30 touches and you could have your hands full. So, I would think that there's enough veteran leadership that have the experience of what happened last year to at least, to have that not be something that, people would feel they would have to worry about in terms of, I don't want to say a letdown. Like, there's going to be so much excitement for week one. I think it's just more of okay, hey, are you ready to play? Like, remember what this is like, week one of the NFL season.
We'll talk with Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst. Now, Tim, everyone wants to see, how Derrick Henry comes back. Many people say, well, he has too much tread on his tires. He's getting a little bit older. I've heard it just about everything. But to me, Derrick is just a different type of back. But if Derrick isn't back to form, can this team still be able to do some of the things that they want to do and win the division without Derrick being a 1,500-yard rusher?
I think they can be, because I think, look, I think, and I've said this before, I think Ryan Tannehill has been, I don't know, I think the way that people have kind of viewed him because of how, the postseason ended, I think is not really a fair characteristic of who he actually is as a player. And so, can they? Yeah, it's not like every game, Derrick Henry, has played in that he's dominated every game. I think there are times that, look, the quarterback, played well. Let's face it, and you may say, I know this, look, Derrick Henry, just looking at this, he went out week 8 last year. They still ended up being the 1 seed. I think that there's there's almost been a narrative a little bit that it's like, hey, they have to be running the football well. It's the only way that this works is if Derrick Henry's got 140-plus yards running. And I don't think that's true. Now, do they need him to have a really good year? Yeah, I think they need him to have a really good year, especially as they, try to figure out who they are at the wide receiver position. I also think this, I think they've been a below-average pass-blocking offensive line. That's the other reason you need to run the football well. So, yeah, look, and I would agree with you. I think because of his style and his size and all of that, I do think he's a bit of a different runner than some other backs that, tail off. And so I don't think that we're going to see that this year. And I think that he's healthy. I think he's had enough time to be healthy with his foot. And so, I would expect him to have a good year.
Now, the Titans they're starting 2 new offensive linemen in Brewer and Nicholas Petit-Frere. How much conversation does the quarterback have with his offensive line, in particular the new guys on the offensive line? Because a lot of what you do as a quarterback and what you're comfortable with all predicates on how good your offensive line is.
Yeah, here's what I think how it works is, and I don't know the exact mechanics of, protection adjustments and things like that to, of how it flows, for the Titans. But here's the deal. When you have a quarterback that's experienced like Ryan is, and when you have a center that's experienced like Ben Jones is, the reality is that whatever the flow of the communication is, the center needs to take it over, and so even if it originates from the quarterback, it needs to be echoed by, the center. Essentially, the center needs to basically say, look, this is the expectation. He just made a base call. That's what this means for us. This is how we're going to handle it. And the expectation is we need to do our job. And so, look, I think for Ryan, he's played behind enough people that there's probably, ultimate trust in terms of the guys that are playing in front of him. And I think in terms of, how the communication aspect of that works, I think because he's played so much with Ben that has to feel like it's secure and a done deal and something that he should feel good about. So, look, I look around sometimes and I'm, take Dallas, for example. Everyone's kind of going crazy we got no Tyron Smith at left tackle, and what are you going to do? It's well, okay, everyone take 2 deep breaths and then go look at how many games he's missed. And then go look at okay, how did Dak Prescott play in those games? Or how did they run the ball in those games? And it's you know what? They did okay. They were all right. Would they like to have Tyron Smith? Of course they would. But, I don't know. I just think that sometimes we panic. All right, guard's out. It's that's all right. It's part of the coach's job and the GM's job to find players that can play when someone gets hurt and coach him up. And sometimes that guy at right guard might actually be better than the guy that got hurt or was playing in front of him.
We're talking Tim Hasselbeck, NFL football. Tim, are you worried at all about Matthew Stafford's arm?
I think I was, earlier, but sounds like, look, some surgery, his age, being patient with it, the way he's talked about it, and quite honestly, how talented of a thrower that he has been throughout his career. They're even if he's not totally right, it's still going to be better than most. And so I would say I'm not concerned right now. I think where I would be concerned would be if he just, starts missing time, not practicing a ton, and he's getting his elbow drained, or then I'd be concerned about it.
Another one. John Harbaugh saying Lamar Jackson's, he's locked in, no issue. We got these contracts going on, but he's going to do the job on the field. Do you think we'll have a chance of hearing something about that? Wouldn't you think they'd like to get that done before the season starts? And would you be concerned if it leaks into the season?
I think because of the way Lamar's intimately involved in it, I don't love it for him or the team. And so, I think in saying that, I would just say maybe we've read this all wrong. I've been kind of clear that I think we've had so few leaks in this situation because there's not an agent, right?
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, there just hasn't been. And so I think, like, everyone's kind of speculating, like, oh, Lamar wants to steal. Like, Lamar literally might be like, look, Dak Prescott was like, look, I'm going to play to the franchise tag. I'm going to turn money down, take out an insurance policy. He had a nasty, injury, and he still got paid. And over a 3-year span, Dak's going to be the highest paid player in football. And so Lamar, maybe he's just smart enough to say, like, look, it's okay. And if I tear my ACL, like, they're not going to turn their back on me because I get hurt. Like, it's proved that that's not the case. So Lamar might just be like, look, I'm okay. Like, I've got the nerve to stand, strong and play through this. And he wouldn't be the first player that feels that way. And it oftentimes works for players.
Tim Hasselbeck here with us every Tuesday at noon. Timmy, appreciate the job as always. Enjoy week 1. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. See you, fellas. Yep.
Tim Hasselbeck joins us every Tuesday at noon, presented by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and BetUS.com. Cash in on all your favorite sign up at BetUS.com. Use promo code 1025 for up to a 200% sign-on bonus. We'll react to some of those things that he had to say, plus review our 10 questions that we asked earlier in the show. We have some of your responses to read about the Titans as well. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 1025, 1063, The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the start of the NFL season is finally here, and the best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a new customer or already have an account, you'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. I really like the Titans and their week 1 matchup against the Giants, -5.5. Give me the Titans all day long on that, but you take it any way you want to take it. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, just sign up with promo code ROB to get started. Once again, that promo code is Rob. Either way, you can celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, or build out a same-game parlay as well for a chance to win a bigger payout with a small bet. Whatever you do, make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. A max refund of $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Head to Third and Home, Germantown's bar with a ballpark, to catch the end of the Nashville Sound season and all the football you can handle. With TVs on the patio or inside, you can pick your favorite spot to watch all the action. Enjoy drink specials, wing specials, burgers, and more. See you at Third and Home this football season.
I love this show.
Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willie, and D-Mace podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. Appreciate Tim Hasselbeck for joining us. If you miss any of our interviews, you can just check out everything on demand, theGamenashville.com, and also subscribe to the Chase, Willie, and D-Mace podcast. You want to check out the Eddie George show, which is now on podcast as well. Subscribe to that. It was awesome last night.
Listen, last night it was really good.
Yeah, so it was good to see Eddie and catch up with him. He'll join us Friday at 1 o'clock. But reviewing our 10 Titans questions that Willie asked early. I know a lot of you weighed in on the text line, but Willie, real quick, run through all 10.
Yeah, I'm getting excited, by the way. We got Eddie George in the show. We got Tim. We got games this week. I feel like I'm
underdogs on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Come on,
be sure
let's go.
You can go play silly underdog picks. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Just go to theGamenashville.com. It's presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
I'm really excited about our show, too. I just feel like we're going to get a good rhythm going. This is where you're going to want to hear all of the great talk throughout football season. Then not too long from now, the Preds will start, too. All right, here are my 10 Titans questions I hit the panel with earlier in the show. And, I mean, it's tough to swallow all 10, but we're going to go back through them a little bit. We got some fun reaction on our text line, people weighing in with a strong take one way or the other here. But here are the 10. Will Ryan Stonehouse be the punter for the entire season? We feel like the season is going to be wrapped up in these 10 questions.
Yep.
In a big
storylines.
Big storylines. Bud Dupree in year 2, 10 or more sacks, especially without Landry in there. Key question. Bottom line, what will the Titans' record be? That's question 3. By the way, D-Mace and Chase went 11-6. I went 10-7. Derrick Henry, over or under 1,350 yards. We got that straight out of Vegas from DraftKings. Will the Titans have a receiver with over 800 yards, whether that be a wide receiver, a tight end, or a running back? Back in the day, LT. Remember Daniel Thompson? He was good for 800.
Roger Craig.
Yeah, Roger Craig. Those guys could get 1,000. Traylon Burks, over or under 75 targets in his rookie year. That's about 4.5 per game. Titans defense, over or under 40 sacks. Last year they had 43, tied for 9th. Question 8, Ryan Tannehill, over or under 10.5 interceptions. He had 14 last year, only 7 the year before. Question 9, Taylor Lewan has missed 19 games the last 3 seasons, over or under 14.5 starts on the season. Question 10, the most productive rookie not named Traylon Burks will be fill in the blank. So if you have any snap judgments on any of those, we'd love to hear you. Hit the text line at 615-737-1025. You want to weigh in on one of them, and we'll maybe bring 1 or 2 back before the season starts and kind of focus on it.
Oh yeah,
for the day, just to see what kind of reaction we get.
I mean,
so
look,
what do we got on the text line?
We'll be
so far?
wrong. We'll be wrong on one of these. By
That's what's
week
look.
2.
I read the results from last year. We're going to revisit them every quarter of the season and see where things stand. It was hilarious last year because remember my first question last year. Will Mr. Sam Ficken be the kicker the entire year? He didn't make it to week 1.
Ficken wasn't kicking.
He wasn't kicking.
Matt from Nashville says on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, these don't all necessarily need to be right for it to be a good season. It sounded like most of last year's questions we were on the wrong side of, but still had a very strong season. Vrabel finds a way.
Yeah, and I said this yesterday. I don't understand why so many people are nervous about particular things, or why they look at the Titans and say, well, they're going to finish behind Indianapolis. They may not got 30% chance or a 37% chance to win their division, or even make the playoffs. I don't understand where all this is coming from, because Vrabel has proven he doesn't care who is in a lineup. He does a damn good job at coaching, at just coaching players up. That's what he enjoys doing. So his track record shows that even with 90 guys he had to use last year, they end up having a number 1 seed in the AFC. Granted, we know what happened in the playoffs, but he managed to, even with the injuries and everything else that was going on, he managed to keep this team together.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do.
That's why he's the coach of the year.
Yeah,
no
so
doubt.
I don't know why people are panicking in certain situations. Now, I can understand people being, people a little bit unsure about certain positions, but I think as the season started to go, that Vrabel, get everything the way it's supposed to be.
Joe on our text line, when you were talking about sacks earlier and the over-under, Derek said under, and he goes, just because of D. Mason, they're going to get 10 sacks on Sunday.
Well, if they get 10 sacks, that'd be great.
Gator Tim, Dupree has no chance of getting double-digit sacks. He only did it once with T.J. Watt pushing the quarterback to him. Keep wishing, Titans fans.
Ooh, harsh.
You hear a lot. You hear Stiller fans are not as sold on him as we are.
No. That was the rap, and I'll give Football Outsiders credit for this, because they were saying this before he ever played a snap for the Titans. Now, remember, he was coming off the ACL, so that's what we don't know, is what is he going to look like fully recovered? Because by the end of the year, it started to look more like it was supposed to, but their point was he racked up a lot of sacks because he was the guy getting the matchups, playing opposite T.J. Watt and some other really good players on that Steeler defense. So they thought there was a bit of a overrated kind of player kind of tendency, looking at their metrics with the pressures, the percentage of the time that he hurried the quarterback, the matchups he was getting. But now it's sort of on the line for him. He makes a big cap number. There's no Harold Landry. They really need him to be a force. They really need him to be a force to be an effective defense, I think.
There's more text. We'll read some of these coming up next. Our 10 Titans questions, plus the depth chart. The unofficial depth chart came out yesterday. We'll look at that as well as you listen to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. But first, Willie, tell us about Loan Pronto.
Okay, let's talk Loan Pronto. They are working with people every day, and they are helping them do a number of different things to keep that money in motion. If you're a homeowner, your home's value is way up, and there are times where you need some cash flow to pay off credit cards or school's tuition or car loans or whatever might be piling up for you. Maybe you just want to reinvest in your home, make it even more valuable, add a room. Well, to do that, you might need some money, and Loan Pronto has a great, fast, all-digital process with virtually zero paperwork and no hassle. We're talking about refinancing your home. It could be a home equity line of credit. It could be a number of different things. All you've got to do is call them, tell them what you want to do, and they'll get some information from you, and they can get this process rolling. And in just a few weeks, you'll have that money in your pocket ready to address your financial needs. We're doing it ourselves in our household right now. Call Loan Pronto. They're ready to help you. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Every Monday at 6, it's the Eddie George Show live from 6th and Peabody.
We're excited at Tennessee State.
Each week, the former Titan and current TSU head coach will be joined by Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton.
All of America was watching this game if you're interested in college football.
And special guests to break down the Tigers' latest game and talk all things football.
This league is forever changing.
The Eddie George Show, Mondays at 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Football season is here again, and when it comes to procuring my adult beverages for the big games, I saddle up and head to Red Spirits and Wine. Red's titanic selection of beer, wine, distilled spirits, and cigars is second to none. And Red's Cracker Jack crew always delivers a winning combination of service and value. There's no two ways about it. Red is top of the range. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South in Bellevue. And check us out at redspirits.com.
Need a new tractor, zero-turn mower, utility vehicle? Try it and buy it at Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field Event, Thursday, September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot at one of Coleman Tractor's biggest sales events of the year. Demo, subcompact, compact, utility tractors, and more. Ask about competitive financing offers. Get a coupon for up to $250 and enter to win an Orca cooler. Don't miss Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field Event, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds open a 6-game series tonight against the Charlotte Knights.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home for Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on a Tuesday. A reminder, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook every day. Our streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. The Nashville Fair returns to the Nashville Fairgrounds, and this Sunday we'll be there live from 2 to 4. Midway rides, agriculture, arts, livestock competitions, fair food, including hot chicken on a stick and deep-fried goo-goo clusters. Oh, yeah, I'm down for that. And more. Buy tickets early and save at nashfair.fun. We will see you then.
Hot chicken on a stick and what? Goo-goo what?
The deep-fried goo-goo clusters.
That's still my all-time favorite story. When I was a freshman at Vanderbilt, I'd never heard of the goo-goo cluster. It's, of course, it's a Nashville thing, right? It's born from here. It's a big thing here. But I didn't know. I was from Florida, so I went to a speaking engagement with an upperclassman, Scott Drought, great player at Vanderbilt. I'm like, big-time basketball. We're talking to the fans. This is going to be great. So it was a good thing. He picked me up. He drove me over to this place. We talked to the Vanderbilt fans. And after it, this woman hands me an envelope. And it's kind of thick. I'm like, ooh. It's like big-time college basketball. Am I getting what's in this envelope, man? This is good. I opened it up, and what was it? It was a goo-goo cluster. Like, oh, I'm big time now, man. I just got a free goo-goo cluster. It was pretty good, though.
No, they're not bad. 615-737-1025. Titans, 10 Titans questions to answer for this season. A lot of you weighing in. Charlie on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. On when it comes to interceptions for Ryan Tannehill, I'm hammering over 10.5. His weapons nor his offensive line didn't get any better. Give me the over.
I mean, he has a point.
There's a lot that could happen that could lead to it. You have brand new receivers, a lot of role definition, still questions about pass protection. And I think you asked a key question in all of that equation is how many times is he asked to pass? Because in general, if the Titans offense is rolling the way they want it to, they're going to pass less than most teams in the league. And so the less times you throw it, the less times you have a chance to get interceptions. That's how he kept it so low the year before. He had such an efficient year 2 years ago, 33 touchdown passes and only 7 interceptions.
Well, and here's another interesting text, and I've just looked this up. So TD from Nashville says Tannehill will have under – he actually spelled it that way – will have under 10 interceptions. A lot of his INTs came after Derek left. Derek being back will help that stat. Plus, he's playing for a job next year as well. So, okay, let's go to the tail of the tape here. In the opener against Arizona, he had 1 pick. And then after that, let's see. So before Derek was injured, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because Derek, he had 2 in the Indy game that Derek got hurt. So I'll count those. So he had 7. After that, 1, 5, 6, 7.
So
it was the same.
7 before, 7 after.
7 before, 7 after.
Interesting. One more game in there.
Now
I do feel like he
Derek
got
was
better.
there for the playoff game.
He was, and of course, we don't need to know. We don't need to recap what happened in the playoff game.
No,
but
no.
Week 1, if I recall, man, did they have trouble protecting him. That was a big problem. That was the game that Taylor Lewan got booed, and they put Kendall Lamb in there for one series, and he got blown away.
Who had 4 or 5
And then we
sacks?
had the announcement, please welcome back your left tackle.
He's back in the game. And then, oh, boy.
Was it Pierre-Paul?
Well, you had
the defensive end.
J.J. Watt was in there.
Somebody had
Chandler.
4 sacks. Yeah, Chandler Jones had 4
Chandler
sacks.
Jones.
Or 5.
He was all over the
4 or
place.
5, yeah. I mean,
that was a problem.
Yeah, but Lewan, you could tell Lewan was not.
He wasn't quite back yet, and
I think the biggest thing from that game was I blame on Vrabel because he had kept so many guys out for preseason and camp. I mean, like practicing. I mean,
Julio Jones hadn't practiced. He was very rusty. But Dupree clearly wasn't ready, and
he was too careful.
Well, I don't know if it's all on Vrabel there. I think the players are probably telling him, "Hey, look, I'll be ready. I'll be ready for week 1. Trust me. I haven't practiced, but I'll be good to go." And they just weren't. They weren't ready.
Yeah.
That's why you can't panic if it doesn't go well in week 1.
Right. 615-737-1025. Jonathan in East Nashville talking about a rookie, not named Traylon Burks, having a standout season. I think it's obvious. Kyle Phillips is destined to have a better season, even over Traylon Burks.
I debated that question. We did ask that one day in training camp for our fantasy. Is like, if you were to take one or the other in fantasy this year, who would you take, Phillips or Burks? And you took Phillips, right, Derek? You did.
Yeah, I mean.
Are you regretting that decision?
No, I just think in the short term, Kyle Phillips is ready to play now. He is. He's shown it. He's ready to play now. I think in the long term, and this is just my thinking, I think Traylon Burks will be the guy that will be the number 1 receiver for this team. Short term, Kyle Phillips. Long term, Traylon Burks. But I do believe Kyle Phillips, even in the long term, will have significant production in this offense and what they want him to do.
Boy, if they hit on both of those guys for the long term, that is a big thing.
Huge.
We'll see. If you have any thoughts on any of these questions, we're just continuing to invite you. 615-737-1025. If this one of the questions caught your attention, you got a strong take, fire away on the text line.
Yeah, here's
the Colts have signed Philip Lindsay to the practice squad, by the way. That's an interesting little pickup there.
Unnamed texter says Henry will be over the 1350.5.
I think so.
Ron asks a question on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Will Weaver prove he's a starter and remain the starter for the rest of the year?
Only time will tell.
I do think we've talked about different scenarios there. I think that's an interesting one.
Well, this is one where I go with that is where do we really see this is the question philosophically. What do you gauge when you watch the preseason games? He was a guy that I think it was pretty clear. The coaches were like, let's just get this guy out there, let him play the whole game. Let's just let him play and get better. And he looked good, even going back to last year in the preseason. So if those games mean anything, then I think he's got the tools to be productive if he can translate that. It's going to be a different deal. And I don't think he's going to get double-teamed or anything like that. I think it's going to start off. People are going to see what he has to do. They're going to say, all right, I think we can block Weaver. But he's got to prove that he can beat some one-on-ones and get some heat on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get his opportunity to play. They rotate these guys. They try to keep them all fresh. But, I think Rashad Weaver gets his opportunities to shine in this defense. Whether it's spilling Bud Dupree or Danico Autry, whichever side they choose to put him on, So he's going to get his opportunity. It's just, will he make do on it? He did in preseason, so does it change in the regular season?
Rico is asking a fantasy question, but with the 3 Titans receivers, which one would you pick up, Phillips, Burks, or Josh Gordon?
So is Rico in a league where all 3 of those guys are out there for pickups? That's an interesting question.
I did a draft. Last night, and Traylon Burks was taken. It was late. It was late rounds.
I can see a late flyer on him.
I mean, I go with Phillips, but I mean, if Phillips is gone and Traylon Burks is there, I'd take Traylon too. So,
okay. Gene in Spring Hill. Games are usually won in the trenches. The Titans have question marks on the offensive line and now the defensive line with Landry out. More question marks at receiving. I think 10 wins max.
I went with 10.
You did.
And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. But I do think I like the trenches on defense. I feel good about the trenches. I think you're going to go. Every team's going to go into every game saying, how do we deal with Jeffrey Simmons? That's the thing that if he stays out there, you got going for you on the defense is you got a guy that changes the game. And you got Byard on the back end. I always look at that with defenses like if I'm the offensive play caller and I look at the Titans defense, who scares me? Who do I have to game plan for? And they've got some guys. I
think at every level they have either a playmaker or a potential playmaker, whether it's Jeffrey Simmons, whether it's Cunningham, Zach being a potential playmaker because of his ability, sideline to sideline. He's aggressive in the run. I'm sure he's gotten a lot better in pass coverage. And then obviously Kevin Byard in the back end. So I think they have, the level of playmakers they need. They have a playmaker on every level that they need. They had it before, but now Harold Landry's gone. So,
yeah. Well, and look, don't get me wrong. Losing Harold Landry hurts. Mm-hmm. But if they had come out and said Jeffrey Simmons tore his knee up and is out for the season, I think that's more bigger blow. I think that's more devastating.
Man.
Yeah. That's nothing. That's not a knock at Harold Landry. I just think that's more devastating than losing Harold Landry. Again, it hurts, but as long as Jeffrey Simmons is good and some of the other guys you name, I think they'll be fine. Real quick, one more. Jeff, and I'll let you answer this, Derek. When the Titans line up 3 wide, who will the 3 wideouts be?
Robert Woods, Kyle Phillips, and I think Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I think they're the starting 3.
You think that right now?
Yeah, but they rotate these guys so much that, one play you might see those 3, the next 3 wide receiver set, you might see, Traylon Burks in there with Josh Gordon and Kyle Phillips. So, but I think in their mind right now, their starters is Burks. I mean, not Burks, but Woods, Ikhine, and Kyle Phillips.
Okay, there you go. Coming up next, we'll look back at the depth chart. There was something that stood out to me that I find to be interesting. We'll do that coming up next. It's Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
On Fox 17, Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus forecast for today, very comfortable, very similar to your Wednesday. High temperatures upper 80s to right near 90 degrees, low humidity, and no rain chances for today. A few showers and storms late in the day for your Friday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, summer's over, but is that joint pain still there? Well, it's time to do something. Willie Donick here, and I want to tell you about QC Kinetics. You've put it off long enough. It's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, your back, your shoulder, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body, and it restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Plus, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have done this, and they're living life to the fullest pain-free. So don't assume that the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Stop putting it off. Call for a free consultation. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. Once again, 615-249-4024.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume. The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
615-737-1025. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Get to the depth chart, I promise, in just a second, but really good texts keep coming in on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Unnamed texter says, why is everyone so down on Burks having a good year? It took a few games for AJ to be that guy. And Corey Curtis from News 2 has been texting me. And he's talking about Treylon Burks because I said, look, I had him over 75 targets. He says they're going to move him all over the formation, including putting him in the backfield. I just anticipate him getting more opportunities than that. 6 targets a game is 102 for the season. Think about it this way. Of all the Titans receivers, which one can do the most damage with the ball in his hands? That's Corey Curtis. I think that's a valid point. Now, to the earlier texter on AJ taking a few games to get it going, here's AJ Brown game by game in his rookie season. 2019 at Cleveland, Titans win 43-13. He was targeted 4 times. He had 3 receptions for 100 yards. That was his first NFL game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. I'd have to look up the box score of what the – I think didn't he have a long one?
Yeah, he had a 51-yarder.
That's right. All right. Game 2. Targeted 5 times, 3 catches, 25 yards. Game 3. 5 targets, 1 reception, 4 yards.
Both of those were losses.
Yep. And then game 4. 3 targets, 3 receptions, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then he had two targets, 2 receptions, 27 yards. The next game, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 23 yards.
Both losses.
The next game, 8 targets, 6 catches, 64 yards against the Chargers, a win. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 11 yards, and a touch.
My recollection is, as you go through this, he was in the plan from day one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
And I think Burks is
now,
too,
even though
he's not starting.
According to Pro Football Reference, A.J. only started 11 games out of the 16. But I just feel like he was in the plans early. He was an early I'll never forget the first rookie OTA. People were just really buzzing about him from the start. So he, I thought, pushed it. He was ahead of the curve. There seemed to be something special about him. And I'm not saying it's not like that for Burks, but we'll see. Corey is, this is something to look for, is how creative are they? How much is he in the plan, right? How much do they go out of their way? Remember the bread and butter for this team, 2 tight ends, a lot of Derrick Henry. Okay, to not have that, to do with what he's talking about with Burks, put him in the backfield, go 3 wide, run some interesting. You got to change what the bread and butter has been. So I don't know if that's going to happen.
But my thing is,
and look, here's AJ in the first year, 84 targets. So my over under 75, I think it's conservative, but it's coming from in a guy's first year. It's not easy to all of a sudden get that 100 kind of touches. Right?
But my thing
is,
is this the Titans type of offense? Because even with A.J. Brown, they didn't do all of this, in the backfield, all this other stuff. They didn't do it because that's not who they are.
Exactly.
Now they made it conservative. They tried to get him the football, but they're not the San Francisco 49ers. Where Deebo Samuel is going to be in the backfield. He's going to be here. You just don't know where Deebo is going to line up. If Traylon proves that he's that guy, okay. But the Titans, no matter what, from a receiver standpoint, they're not going out of their way to do they're not going to go out of their way to consistently put him in the backfield, consistently do this, consistently do that. They're going to try to stay within the framework of their offense. And not to say he's not going to get those plays, but they're not going – he's not going to be – Deebo Samuel-esque. I can throw him here, just get the ball in his hands. That's not their offense.
I agree. That's why I arrived at the 75 is I think it's going to be, especially early, it's going to be more about quality and not quantity. I don't know if it's going to be a force feed. We've got to get Burks the ball a number of times. I think if they went to him 3 times, but 1 or 2 of those plays are big impact plays, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I think Corey makes a good point of using him in the backfield. He goes on.
But how's he get? Tell me where you see him in the backfield if you got Derrick.
They've done stuff like that
They
before.
have
with who?
With who?
Jonnu Smith.
But
they used to line Jonnu Smith up in the backfield.
But they didn't even do that with A.J. Brown.
Are you sure?
They didn't not. I'm not going to say they didn't do it. They didn't do it, period. But I don't remember watching games and saying, man, they put A.J. in the backfield a lot, or they do this to A.J. They just didn't do it.
Now,
for whatever reason. I don't know, but they didn't do it. I'm the only – and I'm not saying that Curtis is wrong.
I guess Arkansas used him in the backfield.
Yeah, that's how Arkansas used him, but this is not
Arkansas.
Titans.
This is a
right,
power running team.
The thing is, we don't know if they have gotten creative and the practice we don't see, and they've thought about that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
I get that. No, but I would be surprised if he's in the backfield. Now running some interesting creative things for him, I think that's going to be the key. I think, but I'd be surprised if it's in the backfield, and I'd be surprised To me, that would be great if it happens, but I'm going to be surprised if it's that many this early in his career.
Because that would be, and I'm sorry, Corey, I referred you by your last name first.
Hey, Curtis!
I'm sorry.
Get in there, Curtis!
I'm sorry, Corey, for referring to you by your last name.
Coach Curtis, the
you remember what happened? Yeah, you remember what happened to the kid that called Bobby Knight instead of saying Coach Knight or Coach? Remember the incident where he cornered the kid at Texas Tech? The kid said, "Hey, Knight!"
Yeah.
And he cornered the kid up against the wall, jumped him against the wall.
Curtis, don't corner me. Corey.
Hey,
no, but I mean, Corey is I'm not saying Corey is wrong. I'm just saying the Titans had an opportunity to do this with AJ because of my thing was just get the ball in his hands. That's all he needed because he's such a physical runner. Get the ball in his hand. And they rarely did it with him.
Yeah. Corey says he took it as a sign of respect.
Oh, okay. Much respect.
I love that Corey listens all the time, weighs in, and I think this has created a good discussion of where it, and let's see, Kevin on our text line said, "Willie, you completely misremember. That was not the case with AJ. He battled a hamstring issue all camp. No one had a clue on what he was going to do. People were being harder on him than Traylon, and he just exploded out of nowhere when he wasn't expected to do anything." I don't know if he wasn't expected to do anything. I think he was expected to be it was a second-round pick.
He's second-round pick. He had shown in
Brown
practice.
Had a hamstring injury?
Yeah.
He did have a hamstring injury.
But I know Corey Davis did.
But he had shown in practice when he did practice that he was an explosive guy. So they felt that, okay, once he get healthy, he can potentially be our guy. So, he starts off with 100 yards and then have those games in the middle. But that was AJ's sort of career here in Nashville. Have a great game and then sort of disappear. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to fully blame it on him because, you can only be productive with the targets with the passes that they throw to you. So I think that maybe that was the Titans' fault as well, that they didn't give him the ball enough, So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully they learn from that mistake, and don't repeat it with Traylon Burks.
The thing that I don't want to see is I think they're doing this to not put as much pressure on Traylon Burks because of this whole you have to replace A.J. Brown thing. Mm-hmm. But I also don't want to see Tannehill specifically try and force the ball to him, which I really don't think he's going to. But that just if you design plays for him and he's open and he's making the plays, then great. If not, then it's he's a young rookie that's going to earn his opportunities.
Well, Tannehill doesn't. Since he's been here, he hasn't been a guy that force-fed a guy no matter what. He's distributed the ball amongst everybody. And that's a good thing about a quarterback. If you can consistently hit different guys, so much so that people got mad at him for throwing it to Nick Westbrook-Akina.
So
Akine.
Corey says this. Do you know how many combined catches that Corey Davis and A.J. Brown had in their rookie preseason, in their first preseason?
Preseason?
Combined
first
catches.
Preseason?
Yeah, for both of them. So Corey Davis' rookie year, A.J. Brown's rookie year. How many combined catches?
Well, Corey Davis, I remember him.
He dealt with injury,
right? Yeah,
he dealt with injuries too.
The answer is 1.
Yeah,
so 1 total.
Yeah.
Certainly can't go by that. The last element to me in this whole thing is what is the basis of the Titans' offense? We know it's Derrick Henry, but it's also what? The play action. So the number of touches for Burks also, there's going to be they're going to try to do a lot of play action, as they should with the box. They're going to play heavy box, a lot of teams. They're going to crowd the line of scrimmage for Derrick Henry. The play action should be there, needs to be there. So who are the guys that are really going to benefit and pick up the slack for – because A.J. Brown made a lot of money on those slant routes to the inside, catch and run after the catch on those play action.
Intermediate in routes.
100%.
Coming up next, we'll shift to college football, talk to Mitch Light, our weekly visit with him. Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee at the bottom of the hour. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game.
Tannehill, he can run, and he does. Touchdown.
We talk the game.
I think this is Vrabel giving Tannehill more authority over the team.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with three-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace with Chase McCabe, Willie Donick.
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
And former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
1 o'clock hour, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason with you. We say hello to Mitch Light from The Athletic. Joins us every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Clark Lee coming up at the bottom of the hour. Mitch, how's it going?
Good. Hope you're doing well, Chase.
Doing fantastic. It was a fun weekend of college football, and things, I think, right now with the college football playoff expanding, and, you know, I've seen a bunch of, okay, well, what if it happened this year? You know, who are the top 4 seeds, all those things. To me, it's still the cream is, you know, rising to the top, Alabama, Georgia. But how do you view Clemson and Ohio State after week 1? Notre Dame gave Ohio State a game. Ohio State ends up winning it by 11 points. Clemson pulled away last night, beating Georgia Tech, but didn't look great at times. So does anything change for you with those two teams after 1 week?
Yeah, it's sort of like I feel better about the top 2 teams. I'd say I'm no strong opinions change on Ohio State because maybe their offense wasn't as good as you expected, but we know that's a known commodity. I have no doubt they're going to be great, explosive on offense, and Notre Dame's good defensively. What encouraged me, if you're an Ohio State fan, is obviously the defense. Well chronicled how much they struggled the last few years. Jim Knowles coming in, did a great job against the conservative Notre Dame offense, but still did a great job there. And Clemson's like, you know, I watched every snap of that game last night. You're watching; they were really unimpressive offensively in the first half, made the plays they needed to make against what I don't think is a very good Georgia Tech team. So I don't – are they good enough to win the ACC? Yes. Are they good enough – is that offense good enough to win a playoff game? No. And, we've got a long way to go, and, who knows what's going to happen with DJ and Kay Klubnik, the freshman, looked good in his one series there. So I came away from the weekend, like if you have to be obviously impressed with Georgia and Alabama. Then after that, sort of like what I felt before the season, Chase, it's sort of, okay, I'll put Ohio State 3, but after that, you can throw a bunch of teams in a hat there and not necessarily feel great about that 4th, 5th, and 6th team in your rankings.
I'll tell you one that I was wrong on. My stone cold lock was Utah was going to cover 2.5 against Florida. A fun game to watch. I was very impressed with Billy Napier's debut with Florida. What was kind of your takeaway from that?
Yeah, well, if they make one more play, your stone cold lock comes through, right?
Right.
They're down 3, they get a touchdown. I mean, that just tells you the fine line between winning and losing.
But 15 points for Florida in the fourth quarter, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, both. Other than the fact that Utah, this is such a blown opportunity because could they still make the playoffs? Sure, they could make the playoffs. But this was if you just take away the fact that it was a blown opportunity for that program, I think you feel good about both teams walking away. But Utah's just got to be kicking itself because, again, how often are you going to have a chance to go across the country and swamp national TV and win the game with one of the best teams they've ever had? And then Florida, just not the most supremely talented Florida team, but we all, Anthony Richardson, we all watch what he can do there. So, yeah, just a gutty win for Florida, just a nice momentum swinging win, just to start off this regime with a win like that. But I was impressed with Utah, too. And, I mean, Chase, I don't know about you, but I think they play that game 10 times in the swamp. It's probably 5-5.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Agree with you on that.
We're talking with Mitch Light of The Athletic. Now, Mitch, UT did exactly what they were supposed to do last week versus Ball State, winning 59-10. They were under control from the start of that game to the end of that game. And we haven't seen that from Tennessee in a very long time, where they've come out and just dominated the first game of the season like they should. But they go up to Pittsburgh. How critical is this game, or how important is this game in the big scheme of things? I know it's only the second game of the season, but Pitt's ranked 17th right now. They're coming off a big win. UT has to go to their place to play them. How big is this for them?
Yeah, it depends on your point of view, Derek. If you looking big picture, where is Josh Heupel's program going to be in 3 or 4 years? This game doesn't mean that much. But if you're the trajectory is still good. But if you're talking short-term goals and being a team that's in the top 15, maybe sneaking in the top 10, this is a game you probably should win. I mean, I think Tennessee's a more talented team. Pittsburgh looked good, not great, I thought. They did some good things. They didn't really run the ball very well. They threw the ball. I think they averaged 12.8 yards per pass attempt, which is outstanding. So that, if I recall correctly, I think that's what victimized Tennessee last year in this game. Obviously, a different quarterback, but Pittsburgh had a lot of big plays in the passing game. So that's going to have to obviously curtail that there. So I think it's a game that Tennessee can win and should win, and it could kind of just add another notch in the rebuild, so to speak. There, beating the defending ACC champs on the road, getting some revenge. So if they lose, it's not like the end of the world, but obviously an important game anytime you go on the road to play a good ACC team.
Now, what did Hendon Hooker prove to you after the first game, heading into the second game? And can he potentially be a sleeper when it comes to the Heisman?
Yeah, I'm not much. I mean, I was a big fan of his. I liked him at Virginia Tech. I probably saw about 3 games of him at Virginia Tech, and I thought it was really good. I remember when he got in the transfer portal, I was like, wow, that's a pretty good get for Tennessee, and you're kind of wondering why Joe Milton was starting last year. I thought he was really good last year. Seems to be a perfect fit for this Josh Heupel offense. And kind of to your first point, Derek, about jumping out on them, I think that's what you want to see if you're Tennessee. It's like they're the better team. Leave no doubt. Don't let them hang around. So I think he has complete control of the offense, and I would expect him to have a really good season. And they're the type of team that puts up big numbers because the offense they run, if they get out of the gate and have we're in mid-season and they've got a really gaudy record, and he's got those gaudy stats, I think you will be hearing his name. I think there's too many guys kind of ahead of him on the food chain there, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if we hear his name in the Heisman discussion.
Mitch Light is with us. He's with The Athletic. He's one of their college football editors. We're bouncing around the college football scene. Mitch, like everybody, I was excited for the opening weekend. I watched a lot of games. And one thing that it bugs me, and this is hardly a new thing, but it seems like it creeps up on us even more every year with the reviews for targeting, the number of plays that go to video review. The games are really taking a long time. Is anybody concerned about this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's part of the big picture. You know, I know attendance was great in week one because everyone's excited to come back, but attendance numbers are down. I mean, talk to not any school, 90% of schools, athletic departments, and they're worried about attendance. That's part of the equation. The games are too long. I mean, you look at the clock. You know, an 11 a.m. game. It's 2:00 here, and they're like just getting into the fourth quarter. I mean, it's ridiculous. And we're sitting on our couch. You know, it's not like we're at the game and it's 100 degrees. So, yeah, there's some rule tweaks that you can do, and I think they did implement a few. The reviews, I mean, I'm in favor of review because I want to see the calls get right. But then, you know, I'm with you. We're sitting around so many, like, what is taking so long? Like the Florida State LSU game at the end. Just talk about
that was so crazy.
The momentum out of it, and it's like the NFL's got it down to a science. Like, what are the games like? They're all between like 2 hours and 58 minutes and 3 hours and 4 minutes, like, or something. You know, I'm kind of making that up, but they really got them in that tight window there. And I think college football needs to figure out a way to get back to the 3-hour window because it's now almost minimum 3:20 or 3:30.
Yeah, they've got to move on that. All right, Mitch, let's look at the matchup here. Unique situation. We kind of had some fun with this before. Your son, Gabe, is now a freshman at Wake Forest. You have a background at Vanderbilt, but you also go back far enough, as I do. There's been a lot of matchups between Wake Forest and Vanderbilt, and a lot of very different situations. And it's like a lot of times one program is sort of on a roll, on a high, and the other one is not. It's like, and this is one of those where Wake Forest is coming off a really nice year. Vanderbilt's still trying to get some traction here. So what about this particular matchup?
Yeah, well, I was actually talking to someone about this. Dave Gorin, who's the Wake Forest sideline reporter who I got to know over the years, and we were talking, it's like neither team been good at the same time, or very rarely. You know, during the James Franklin era, it was sort of the end of the Jim Grobe era, and they weren't good. And then when Bobby Johnson was sort of getting rolling, it was earlier in the Jim Grobe era, so a lot of the games weren't all that competitive. So very interesting to note, the spread in the past hour went from 8 points to 10 points. Could be some personnel developments for Wake Forest coming down the road.
Would that be quarterback?
It could be. I mean, that's what it's got to be, I would think. I don't know that to be the case, but on a Tuesday afternoon before the first, because, you know, teams, they don't practice on Monday usually. They go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Before the first practice of the week, spread goes from 8 to 10, so that could be something there. So, you know, I watched more of the Wake Forest game last Thursday than I wanted to. I wanted to flip off, but my wife Heather was like, we have to keep it on to see if we can see Gabe in the student section. Like, I know what he looks like. I don't need to see him. I've seen him wearing a black and gold shirt many, many times before. So, you know, they're good. You know, they've got good A.T. Perry, really good skill player, wide receiver. Their quarterback, I don't know who's going to play. We just talked about it. Mitch Griffith is the backup. He was pretty good. Now they played an overmatched VMI team, so it's I think that the potential there for Vanderbilt, if they can knock off. Derek asked me about what Pitt not upsetting Tennessee beating Pitt would do for the program. Imagine what this would do for Vanderbilt. Knock off a good team like Wake Forest. So it's all there for Vanderbilt. We'll find out. All for the first three halves of the season. Vanderbilt looked really good, and in the second half against Elon, kind of fell apart defensively. Was that fatigue? Was that what in the league, just having the big lead, or was that just not being good defensively? We'll find out because obviously this Wake Forest team will test Vanderbilt.
Well, you mentioned it though. For people that maybe didn't follow closely, Sam Hartman had a very big year, a great year for Wake Forest last year. Would they win 10 games, Mitch?
Yes.
10 games, and so he was announced out indefinitely with a non-football related medical condition. But when you say the line moves 2 points in the last hour, maybe that's got to be a sign that maybe he's on his way back in there, right? Like, how much of a difference would he make?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Chase here. I'm not a betting expert. So I
after last week, I'm not either.
I would say, to me, I would say that's worth like 3 or 4 points. But what do I know? So 2 points. It's just something's got to be going on, and so yeah, and it was not considered season-ending. So I think when it was announced, the feeling from coming out of Wake Forest and feeling the people that kind of we talked to at the Athletic was it was going to be more long-term than missing one game. So if you're looking from a Wake Forest standpoint, to miss one game, VMI, that's fantastic. But, hey, this, and Derek can chime in too. If Hartman's been at practice, but he hasn't been practicing. I'm sure he's been doing some workouts. If you're cleared after not working out for a month on a Tuesday, are you going to play on Saturday? I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that question. I would think he's got a chance to play, but that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it all depends on, it's not like I've never seen that before, but, man, it just depends on how much of the offense, he feels comfortable with running, not being able to practice for that long.
It's also got to be his we really don't know what was wrong with him. Like, has he been able to run? Has he been able to work out? What's his cardio like? What's his stamina like? So there's a lot of factors that we don't know.
Mitch, as we let you go, real quick, I'm intrigued by the SEC schedule this week, or the matchups, I should say, some out of conference. Is there one in particular that catches your eye?
Yes. Mississippi State at Arizona. Arizona is a fun team, one of the most improved offensive teams in the country. Jaden Deloria is the transfer quarterback from Washington State, who was the Pac-12 freshman of the year last year. They got a transfer from UTEP, a wide receiver, Jacob Cowing. And then they've got a freshman wide receiver from L.A. who was their top recruit ever. They went to San Diego State last week when San Diego State opened up its new stadium and basically ran him off the field. They're a really good, fun, exciting team. So that's a late night. I think it's like 10:30. So that one's going to be fun to watch.
I classify that as Pac-12 after dark, and I am a fan.
It could, and Michael Leach heading back to the Pac-12.
Yes, indeed. Mitch, thanks for the time. We'll do it again next week.
All right, take care, guys.
Mm-hmm. Mitch Light of The Athletic joining us. I think there's some intriguing games that we'll hit coming up next. Clark Lee at the bottom of the hour. Chase Willie and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185!
Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Psst. Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
The Parker Store in 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
With your home value up again, you are sitting on a pile of money. So don't let it sit there. Use it. Willie Donick here for my friends once again at Loan Pronto. Introducing Loan Pronto's Equity Line of Credit program. You don't have to refinance, but you can access up to 97% of your home's value. Get cash now to pay off all your credit cards, or do that home improvement project. Get your down payment for a new home, or stash away for a safety net. You can get $50,000, even $100,000 or more out of your home. And the payments are crazy low. Think what you could do with $100,000 right now. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, and they can probably even waive the appraisal. Don't just let all that home equity pile up. Turn your house into an ATM machine and get the cash you need. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Start of the NFL season is finally here, folks. The best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Rexford here to let you know that FanDuel's kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account, you're going to get free bets back if you don't win. So log in and see for yourself. Real quick one locally here. If that Titans line against the Giants stays under a touchdown, I think that's an easy one. You can, of course, do that with any game. You can go well beyond that with player and game props, and you can bunch up some bets for the same game parlay. Bigger payouts, small bet. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up for promo code Joe102 to get started. Again, promo code Joe102. Either way, celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is not available for free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll talk to Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee coming up in about 10 minutes or so, as the Commodores are 2-0 as they'll take on Wake Forest this weekend. But our intriguing college games this week in week number 2. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in on our texts or phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I will let one of you guys lead the way.
Well, let's go beyond the obvious, right? We know that both Vanderbilt and Tennessee have extremely intriguing games, so we're going to.
And I thought Mississippi State, Arizona, what Mitch
that was a good call. So
one.
we won't go back over that one.
Underdog candidate.
So, I like where you're going there. So certainly, I'm going to be watching closely Vanderbilt, Wake Forest. So many people will be watching Pittsburgh against Tennessee. So D-Mace, who you got?
My pick for this week is, and it's happening early. To my knowledge, maybe they had played this early before. But the second game of the year, this is a key game in the SEC. SEC East, Kentucky.
I know where you're going.
Florida.
Ooh.
I mean, listen, it's going to be a huge game in regards to seeding in the East. Because last week Florida pulls a huge upset over number 7 Utah. Richardson at times looked really good, at times didn't, but he made the plays necessary to win them the game.
Watch.
Yeah, definitely.
He's fun to watch.
I mean, Will Levis for Kentucky just shredded Miami of Ohio. They're 5-0 in their last 5 games dating back to last year. Florida's 3-2, I believe. I think this game can mean a lot for Florida. I think if Florida gets this, there are many are going to start to think Florida is back.
You know what's interesting about
I think
that
it means a lot for both teams.
Yes, but I'm saying if Florida wins, because Kentucky's already ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, but I think
if Florida wins this game against Kentucky after what they did last week against Utah, there's going to be some whispers of Florida could be back.
But for me, for Mark Stoops, his stock was higher than it ever has been. It still is, but he elected to stay. Mm-hmm. He could have left. I mean, I think there were jobs after him that could be viewed as steps up from Kentucky, but he has now elevated Kentucky to a place it's really never been, or hasn't been since somebody like Bear Bryant. But now when you do that and you stick with it,
expectations are a little higher.
Yeah, the expectations are higher, and you got to take it to an even another level.
That's what's so ironic about this discussion is because historically, I can think of several, and I don't have a dog in the hunt, several games where Kentucky pushed Florida, but Florida would always win. So it's like Florida fans, they're like, Kentucky, this is a big game for us. We should beat Kentucky. We're supposed to beat Kentucky because that's what they're trying to get back to that, right? Florida's in that down cycle where all of their fans are like, wait a minute. We're supposed to be the powerhouse. We're supposed to be competing with Georgia, and we're supposed to be competing with Alabama for league championships, and we're on a down cycle. Now they're excited about this win against Utah, and I think there's going to be a little bravado going into Kentucky. But at the same time, as you're saying, Chase, Kentucky feels as good about how they stack up as they have in a long, long time. But historically, This has been all Florida in the rivalry.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to lead me into mine.
Well, hang on real quick. This is another underdog candidate. Kentucky, a 4.5-point dog on the road at Florida.
Yeah. At Florida, like there's so many times that they've been within 4.5 on the line.
I believe somebody will
at
take
Florida.
that game too.
All right, here's mine. Alabama at Texas.
You kidding me?
You wanted that?
You wanted that one?
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, let me tell you why, though. Okay, ever since the news hit that Texas and Oklahoma are coming to the SEC, there has been so much shade thrown on Texas from the SEC people.
Mm-hmm.
You sure you want to come into this league? You can't even win your own league. You can't even compete in the Big 12. Now you think you're going to hang with the SEC? So I think there's a lot of SEC people, even if they don't like Alabama, they want to see Alabama completely shred Texas and deliver a message from the rest of the league. And at the same time, you got the Sarkisian factor, right? He was his career was refurbished by he was a reclamation project. He was out, nowhere to go. He was persona non grata.
He went to Camp Saban.
He went to Camp Saban. The reclamation project.
The Nick
and
Saban
here
coach
he
of
is. Now Nick Saban is going. It's almost like he's saying, "Hey, it is a nice gesture for your work here. I'll come to your place and we'll play you down at Texas." So this is, what happens in this game. Like everybody would expect Alabama to roll, but it is at Texas. Like think about the pride that Texas is going to bring to the table. Of look, we've got to start getting some traction here. It's kind of like the Florida fans. Hey, we're Texas, man. We're supposed to be able to hang in these games. Why in the world are we not in the mix here? So Alabama is a 20-point favorite on the road.
Look, I think Bama's going to win that game, but don't be surprised if Texas doesn't hang tough.
Really?
Well, why is that on me?
Because you're the head coach. That's why. I could see it.
Okay,
now,
so that was yours. I stole yours.
Yeah, but that's fine.
We've been on the same page, man.
No,
we had a couple of these today.
So
the film about Josh Gordon, you and I were seeing the same thing.
Yeah, it was good.
Just great minds think alike.
I'll stay in the SEC then. And an SEC East-West matchup. Arkansas, hard-fought win over Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati might be a little bit better than maybe people thought. Got a young quarterback, lost a lot of players to the NFL draft, but that was a really fun game to watch. But Arkansas gets the win. They're 1-0. South Carolina 1-0. Curious of where the Gamecocks go as they try and get back to, kind of where they were in some of the heyday of Steve Spurrier. But Arkansas, a 8.5 point favorite at home. I'm curious of this one.
Yeah, I think we all want to see what Rattler does for South Carolina because that's an interesting one.
Yeah, 227
so
yards
many
in week
transfers. There's so many teams that have a guy that. Hey, I remember that guy playing for the other guys. Wait, he wasn't
last year.
Where was he? But he's a talented guy, and I think for the Vanderbilts, the Tennessees, you're hoping that you're always kind of hoping that a team in your division kind of struggles some. Like you're kind of hoping South Carolina's not that good. Like from Vanderbilt's perspective, it's like, where can we find a chance to win a league game or two? And so you start looking at those teams. You're like, do you have a shot against them? So South Carolina is a key one, right? But Rattler, there's nothing that elevates a team more than a real talented quarterback that just makes everybody better.
And look, I mean, he was going into last season with Oklahoma, he was a Heisman
huge
favorite
recruit,
going into the season.
Huge recruit, big time talent.
And now he finds himself at South Carolina. But look, this goes without saying. Tennessee-Pittsburgh is a huge game for both teams. Not just Tennessee. We obviously look at it from here, but it's a huge game for both teams. So I think that that one is going to be one to certainly pay attention to. And Derek, you'll appreciate this because I think you were at Michigan State at the same time, but Pat Narduzzi going to join Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow in the 6 o'clock hour.
Well, I wasn't there, but Pat came in years after I was gone. But speaking of that game quickly, I think it's a must win for UT from this standpoint. I think even if Pitt loses, they could still win the ACC. and still put themselves sort of in the, play for a playoff game. If UT loses, it might be a little bit tougher for them because, the odds of them winning their conference is lower than the odds of Pitt winning theirs.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good point. Another game that obviously we'll pay attention to in this area, Wake Forest and Vanderbilt here at First Bank Stadium. We will talk to the head coach of the Commodores coming up next. Clark Lee going to join us, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Men, what if I told you that now you are able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMD4Men.com.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
There are jewelry stores, and then there's Genesis Diamonds, the cutting-edge industry leader, the pioneer. It's no secret that jewelry stores across America watch what Genesis is doing. Genesis was the first to offer a free lifetime warranty, the first to offer a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, the first to offer aggressive long-term zero-interest financing. And Genesis is always on the cutting edge in design and fashion. The styles other jewelers say are new and exciting were new and exciting for us 4 years ago. Genesis has the fashion-forward brands other stores aren't even allowed to carry. It's no wonder you see jewelers from other cities coming to Genesis to see what we're all about, and even buy their wives' jewelry from us. For selection, quality, service, warranties, and guarantees, Genesis leads. Others follow. So for diamonds, engagement rings, exclusive designer jewelry for any occasion, don't compromise. Come to the jeweler that sets the industry standards year after year. Genesis Diamonds and pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
On Stillman and Company, we will preview the Titans' Week 1 matchup against the New York Giants. Plus, how do the Titans plan on filling in the hole in the defensive line now that Harold Landry is out with an injury? As always, too, your phone calls. It's all coming up 2 o'clock on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Chase Willie and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're broadcasting live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Willie, do you have a trivia question? I just realized we haven't done this yet.
I do have a trivia question. I was thinking through the annals of the Wake Forest Vanderbilt matchup, so I was thinking historically here. I was going to, as we're waiting for
Coach Lee running a few minutes behind, so we'll have him in just a second. A pair of tickets to the Pilgrimage Festival on September 24th and 25th at the park at Harlesdale.
I was going to tell you the story. The first time I saw Wake Forest and Vanderbilt play was a driving rainstorm, the Jerry DiNardo era. He did a very good job at Vanderbilt, and it was a kind of an exciting first year. LSU. Yeah, and they had a game against Wake Forest, and I'm thinking, hey, if Vanderbilt wins this game, we're talking bowl. This is when you only played 11 games, and you had to go 6-5, and Vanderbilt had been horrible before. They had hit a real down stretch, and they hadn't been to a bowl in a long time, but Wake Forest won 40-6. 40-6. That was kind of a tough pill to swallow right there. But I've seen them match up a lot of different times. James Franklin, they lost to Tennessee his very first year in a very wacky game. The pick six to end the game. Otherwise, Vanderbilt could theoretically, in James Franklin's 3 years, beaten Tennessee all three because they beat them the next two times. But they had to beat, as a result, they had to beat Wake Forest in the final game to get to 6-6 and get to a bowl game, and they did. So there's been a couple of times where Vanderbilt has beaten Wake Forest to get to a bowl game. There's been some really intriguing matchups through the years between the two teams. So as we wait for Coach Lee, should we stay pro should we stay Titans since we've been doing that?
You're the trivia master.
Yeah, Willie.
It's up to you.
This is your
We're
deal.
going to do this every day until the end of time.
Okay. And
as he calls in now.
Yeah, let's put it off. Let's wait. Trivia right after
As
Coach
he calls in right now.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We'll see if Coach Lee played any games against Wake Forest. I believe he did.
I think he probably would have. Let's say hello
They
to
won
Vanderbilt
at
football
Wake
coach.
Forest when Jay Cutler was there. That might have been a Clark Lee game.
Okay, Coach Clark Lee joins us now. Did you play against Wake Forest when you were at Vanderbilt?
I did not play against Wake Forest. That was the year after I left, and so I didn't have that opportunity.
Okay, there you go, Willie.
Okay, so that was
your question
close.
has been answered.
The other question we had last week, Coach, was we were thinking back to the game that Auburn came in 2003, the weekend that Gordon Gee announced the whole change in the athletic program. Yep. And were you on that Vanderbilt team?
I was on that one.
Okay.
I sure was.
That was
a crazy week.
That was a very crazy week. I'm sure you remember it very well. The other thing we were talking about that day was that Auburn team came in kind of with a fire lit under them. They had lost a couple of games. It was a very high-rated team, and they had those three amazing running backs. And I just remember watching Brandon Jacobs for the first time going, my goodness, this guy is unbelievable. I was worried for some of you guys' health.
Do you have time for a quick story?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is pertinent to that game. So I had that was what game number was that again?
I think it was the third week.
3?
Yeah, third week.
So I'd gotten a high ankle sprain in fall camp, and I tried to come back on it and had re-injured it. And so I missed like a month that season, and I set the wedge. So, back in that day, right, it was like a war of attrition on kickoff. We set a wedge. They had wedge busters, and everyone ran full speed into each other over like 50 yards. And since then, we've looked down on that as an approach. But the wedge buster for Auburn was Brandon Jacobs.
Yes.
And their kicker had the ability to hang the ball in the air forever and then land it on the goal line. So you had to bring it out. And again, back then you weren't putting your hand up to fair catch. So my job was to set the wedge, but I was not available that week. And so Dan Murphy took my place. And I remember watching the first kickoff from the sideline, and the ball hung in the air forever. And I'm just watching Dan as he's looking back at the returner. He's on the 12-yard line waiting for the ball to get caught. And with every second that passes, Jacobs is closing space. And the last thing I remember was, I think Brandon Jacobs parallel to the ground head first through Dan Murphy's face mask. And I can tell the story now because obviously Dan was fine, but it was a horrific scene. And, again, that was their wedge buster on kickoff. I think after that season he transferred to Southern Illinois and then went on to his NFL career. But that was a talented group, and he was a talented guy.
Man, what a wedge buster for Brandon Jacobs. It's funny you mentioned that, Clark. I actually remember that play. I described that play because we had a trivia question about Brandon Jacobs, and I remember that well because the game stopped for a while, right? We were really worried about him for a while.
They Dan off.
Yeah.
Yep. They stretchered him off, and again, I'm glad to be able to tell the story because there was a happy ending there. But it was brutal.
Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee is with us as the Commodores have started their season 2-0. And, Coach, in talking to you and talking to a lot of coaches, and the records, the box scores, they don't tell the whole story. But as you look at where your team is now, going into Wake Forest this weekend, do you feel like as you kind of thought things through and went through camp that you're further along than you had anticipated, right where you had anticipated you being, or maybe still some things that you want to see your team work on?
Well, we're still a work in progress. I mean, I felt like we've won 2 games that we should have won. We're certainly ahead of where we were a year ago this time. I felt like the team came out in the Hawaii game and really put together a performance that reflects the identity of the program. I thought last week we flashed at times, but we also pulled off the gas some, and that left us exposed to the counterpunching that happened in the second half. And again, I credit Elon because they had the fighting spirit for all 4 quarters. We had leads of 21-0, 28-10, and 35-10. We're another score away from really eliminating the possibility of comeback, and we have to own that, and an elite team will put the opponent away early, because we didn't. We found ourselves in some end of game situations that we learned from, and so those were great opportunities, being that we came out of it with a win. But I want to be beyond that, and so I guess what I'm pointing to is there's still some. We still have to mature a little bit in terms of our competitive nature, in terms of that sustaining effort over 4 quarters that I thought we did against Hawaii. And, we're going to have to do that against Wake Forest because this is a really good team that comes in. And it's a team that Dave Clawson has established over his time there, which is he's had a long run, and they're coming off an 11-win season. There's a lot of belief there. And it's an offense that scored 41 points a game a year ago. It's just, there's a lot there, and so it's going to take our best, in our house to give ourselves a chance at a good result.
Now, Coach, you mentioned you having a big lead versus Elon, and then obviously it just seems like the players took their foot off the gas pedal, but you guys are still able to pull out the win, which is great. Who does that fall on? Are you looking more for your quarterback or the upperclassmen, the leaders on that team to make sure this doesn't happen moving forward?
Well, I think the first place it falls is me and our coaching staff. And it's just it's obviously the messaging is always there, but the demanding, the illustrating. One of the things that's interesting coming out of that game that we talked about in our first meeting on Monday. As a team, is that football is a great game because it takes all 11 players. And sometimes when you talk about letting your foot off the gas, it's not a statement that you want to make to your team, but it's maybe 1 or 2 individuals on a given play. And 1 or 2 individuals on a given play that don't make the choice to bring everything they have will cost the team, a down. And so what I saw was just, it wasn't like a wholesale lack of intensity. It was, 1 or 2 players on a given play that didn't quite execute to the level or didn't bring that identity and intensity. And next thing you know, we're going 3 and out, and we're not able to close out on 3rd down, and drives extend, and your defense is playing a lot of plays. And we had a couple punts in there that left us on short fields. And so it's just those are recipes for a team with fighting spirit to counterpunch, and that's what Elon did. And so we were very direct in talking about that on Monday. I got up in front of them and showed examples, and I felt like it was good learning for us, but we'll see how the team comes out on Saturday. I mean, again, you can talk about it, you can meet about it, you can show it, but this is about actualizing performance, and so Saturday will be another opportunity for us.
Coach Clark Lee is with us, and one guy I really like is Jaden McGowan. He's easy to see out there, but it's creative how you guys are utilizing him. And tell us about his background, like where you found him and where he maybe fits short-term, long-term here.
Jaden was a guy that we found. He's from South Carolina, and this is Barton Simmons and his staff, and actually Norval McKenzie was involved in this too. It's just evaluating people. We had track times on Jaden, but he wasn't necessarily like a highly ranked recruit. We brought him in and worked him out, and it was in that last summer you had the opportunity to do kind of one-off workouts, so you didn't have to be camp. It was a response to COVID, and he came in for one of those, and we loved him, and I think we had him on a watch at 4.4, so we timed him in the 40 and felt like he had the skills and the speed, and we were recruiting him as kind of a running back that would possibly play slot too. As we moved along, and initially we were looking at Jaden. We loved him, but we didn't know that we had room in the class, and so we were talking to him about the possibility of gray shirting, and we just said at the early part of the season, I think it was right at August, right after his first maybe couple games, that this kid's going to make us better. And so he's sometimes you get hung up on the numbers game of are we going to take another defensive tackle, or do you add an athlete to the class? We just felt like the Jaden skills were special enough to where we were going to take him no matter what. And so we also evolved to seeing him more as a receiver. And some of that was our need, particularly in the springs. He got here in the winter, but it was a natural fit. And when you look at him do the jet sweeps, the reverses, also he can put vertical pressure on a defense, and he immediately established himself in the spring as a guy that we were going to be looking to get the ball to. And, I've been happy with him early in the season. I think that the beauty of it is there's more for him out there. So, for as many plays as he's made, I think there's going to be more opportunities, and as he gets comfortable and gets settled in the SEC, I think he's going to really have a chance to shine for us.
Well, Coach, as we let you go, I'll say this on your behalf: go support this football team this weekend, because this is a big game for Vanderbilt. So if you're listening right now, go out, fill that stadium up, and support this club. And Coach, we appreciate your time every week.
Hey, that means a lot, and I think you guys, good to be with you.
Awesome. Coach Clark Lee joining us here on the program. He does every Tuesday at 1:30 as Vandy looks to start their season 3-0 with a huge game against Wake Forest coming up Saturday at First Bank Stadium. Still getting used to saying that.
Yeah.
But very cool. The AP Top 25 is out, and there is a local team that finds themselves in it. We will discuss that.
And the trivia question.
Coming up next, plus the trivia question as we wrap things up here. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 MAC-level quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Regal Realty Group on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Hey folks, Joe Rexford here for FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, inviting you to kick off week 1 with FanDuel. If you join today, you get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is sign up with promo code Joe102 to get in on the action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long. Now, I will tell you with that $150 in free bets, look, I do feel good about the Titans giving the points against the Giants. I know how last year went, but I think it's going to be a different story this Sunday in a late opener at Nissan Stadium. But play your way. Bet on more than just final score, too, by the way. Touchdowns, total yards, catches, combine things into a same-game parlay. So much you can do. Safe, easy, fast. FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. Don't fumble your chance. $150 in free bets. Promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now available. Free bets expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus today. Humid but a little below average. High temperatures in the middle 80s this afternoon. A chance for a few more isolated showers and storms during the afternoon hours. Mornings stays dry, and we'll continue that trend going into your Wednesday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
Hey, Willie Donick here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home's value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it, and you can access it with Loan Pronto. They specialize in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. And yes, VA loans are eligible. With a VA loan, you can access up to 100% of your home's value. So pay off high-rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut about $800 or more from their monthly budget. So if your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
It's time for another Kubota field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year takes place on Thursday, September 15th at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo tractors, zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250. Plus, enter to win an Orca cooler. Try it and buy it at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot for Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota field event, Thursday, September 15th. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company coming up in about 10 minutes. Can Harold Landry and A.J. Brown be replaceable players for the Titans? They'll discuss that to kick off their show. Welcome back in, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Quickly, Willie, let's get to our trivia question of the day.
Okay, let's do it. 615-737-1025, and there's somebody every day that texts in the answer.
You must call.
I gave you the right answer. I was right. You can't text. You got to call. 615-737-1025. G-Men coming in, the New York Football Giants. Tom Coughlin won 2 Super Bowls as the head coach of the Giants. He left after 2015, back-to-back 6 and 10 years. There's only one Giants coach since then that has led the Giants to the playoffs. And believe me, there's been a bunch of coaches. that have come through there. They got a new one this year in Mr. Brian Daboll, who's the only coach to lead the Giants to the playoffs since the Tom Coughlin era. 615-737-1025. I'll give you a hint. It's a big-time sports name, but not a football name.
Okay. That's a good hint. All right, good question. 615-737-1025. The AP Top 25 is out, and there has been some shuffling after week one of college football. The biggest drop of anyone in this, Oregon, who went in ranked 11th, got destroyed. They are out of the top 25 completely. Dropped from 11th to nada. They are 26th now. Tennessee has moved into the top 25. They are 24th after not being ranked in week one. The top four, Alabama. Georgia moves to number 2. Ohio State drops to 3. And Michigan moves up 4 spots to 4th. Clemson drops a spot to 5th. A&M remains at 6. Oklahoma moves up 2 spots to 7th. Notre Dame has dropped 3 spots to 8th. Baylor moves up a spot to 9th. SC, Southern Cal, moves up 4 spots to round out the top 10.
I usually don't pay much attention at all to rankings because, as we know, they're very volatile. And what does it really mean until November now anyway? But I do find it interesting from week 1 to week 2 because you got a couple of factors. You've got teams making a really big statement in the first game. For example, Oregon getting absolutely trounced by Georgia. And so they go from, 11 to completely out of the picture?
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Florida was not ranked. They're 12th.
Right. And so this is the next part of it.
Utah
is it just
drops
I don't understand that.
Well, that's the thing. Is it just a 1 week thing?
I don't either.
Or can you really do it? Like, how do we really know? That's the thing about rankings that's so crazy is it's just people voting, and it shows you how little we know about the teams before they ever play. And then you watch. There'll be a lot of people fooled by what happened in the first week.
Utah was 7th. They lose to Florida. Now they're 13th, 1 spot behind Florida.
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a team that wasn't ranked at all.
Everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, though. The Gatorade. See what I did there?
The Gatorade.
Drinking the Gatorade.
But then they jump everyone. You know? That's just, I mean, goodness. You don't know what they're thinking.
We have a winner in our trivia contest. We'll get the name in just a moment. So, Nick, do we have a name for the winner?
Yeah, we do. It's David.
Big Dave. Big Dave.
David Sanchez, not David Janes.
Okay.
The Sanchez.
The Sanchez. We're working to get the Sanchez on the show, by the way.
The
Sanchez
is on the call for the Giants-Titans game.
I'm going to find out how good of a relationship he had with Derek Mason because I've dropped Derek's name and trying to get him on. We'll see.
Yep, that's a good
road,
good move. That's a good move.
I want him on the show, man.
Yeah, I did. All right.
Quickly, the answer to the question. Was
it Ben McAdoo?
It was. It was Ben McAdoo. Now, I could have thrown you a couple different ways
Bob
with
McAdoo.
my hint.
No.
Well, that's what I did. I said it's a big sports name, but not a football name. Now, that could have worked 2 ways because another coach is Joe Judge, not Aaron Judge. Just like it's Ben McAdoo, not Bob McAdoo, who we grew up watching. Great player back in the day. Great jump shooting centerman. But it was Ben McAdoo the year after Tom Coughlin was let go. The Giants went 11-5, lost in the wild card game, and since then they have not had anything close to a winning season. They went 3-13, 5-11, 4-12, 6-10, 4-13, and since Tom Coughlin, they have had 5 coaches.
Really?
5.
Good
Daboll is the
Lord.
5th. Daboll is
Ben
the 5th.
McAdoo.
Then Steve Spagnuolo.
Oh, that's
then,
right.
Fritz Shermer for 2 years, the father of Kyle, the quarterback for Vanderbilt. And then Joe Judge for 2 years.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Oh, man.
Now Brian Daboll.
Your New York Football Giants history.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that has been a pretty stable franchise through the years. I mean, you think about it. Bill Parcells for a long time. Then the Ray Handley thing didn't go very well. And then Dan Reeves, stability. Jim Fossil for a long time. They went to a Super Bowl with him. And then Tom Coughlin for a long, long time.
Wow.
That's true.
Upheaval the last 5 years.
That's true. All right, that'll do it for us, but stick around. Stillman and Company is coming up next. They will dive into, can A.J. Brown and Harold Landry be replaced? They'll do that next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
We out.
Schedule your complete health assessment